It being 5:00 p.m., the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of August 28th, 2018 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, can you call roll?
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Bozito?
Here.
Mr. Groh?
Here.
Mr. Melvin?
Here.
Mr. Bourgeois?
Here.
Mr. Paralou?
Here.
Mr. Otan? Mr. Otan? Mr. Lafont? Mr. Lorraine?
Here.
And Mr. Cantrell?
Okay, can Mr. James Bourgeois do the invocation, and will be led on the pledge with Mr. Jerry Jones.
Mr. Otan, right at 5 o'clock.
Please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we ask that you look over us, ask us to make the right decisions, guide us, give us the courage to do what we think is right for our constituents, and look over Lafourche Parish. We ask that we can give each other forgiveness. In all this we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that Mr. Otan stepped in at 5:01 p.m. Normally, when we see that we have some dignitaries that are in council chambers, we like to announce them, and we have Congressman Garrett Graves in the audience. Thank you for coming. Did you want to come up and say a few words?
Hey, good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Just wanted to come quickly, give you an update on a few things that we're working on. I know that shrimp has been a big issue here in Lafourche Parish and all across South Louisiana. We did testify before the International Trade Commission over a year ago talking to them about shrimp tariffs. They did impose some tariffs, but obviously what's been happening with the shrimp industry here continues to need additional assistance. So we are continuing to work right now with the administration, trying to ensure fair trade practices between our domestic shrimpers and some of the farming operations that are going on overseas. Number two, we recently announced over about the last maybe 6 months a total of $3 billion in new flood protection investments for South Louisiana. That is one of the largest investments in the history of our state for new flood protection investments. I won't get into all the weeds of it, but Lafourche Parish is going to be eligible for a pot of about $1.2 billion that will be provided. All of the rules on that funding has not been published yet. We're expecting it to be published in December, but I just want to reiterate that Lafourche will be eligible for about $1.2 billion out of a pot of $1.2 billion, primarily for South Louisiana. And number three, flood insurance. I know it's something else that's had a huge impact on the property values and economic development and on affordability of homes. And we were able to work closely with Congressman Scalise, who did a great job, by the way, in leading our fight to extend the flood insurance program through the end of November. There were people that were trying to come in, and I want to be very clear on this. They were effectively going to charge rates for flood insurance for homes in some regions of South Louisiana, up to $10,000 a year per home, which should just be unaffordable, and it was going to increase based on inflation in the future. So we did that extension through November, and we're going to come back and work on trying to do a better job pairing some of the flood protection investments that we were able to get with areas that have greater vulnerability. That way, we will get lower flood insurance rates and a more sustainable program. So once again, working on a lot of other things, but didn't want to take much of your time. But Madam Chair, I appreciate the opportunity to be here and address y'all's concerns or address some of the issues we've been working on. If there's anything else that we can ever work on with y'all, please feel free to let us know.
Councilman Lorraine.
Yeah, sir, thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
I attended a function not too long ago, and Senator Kennedy was a speaker, and it sounds like he's very concerned about this flood insurance. It seems like in the House, there's no problem to pass it where you at. But he says it's getting rougher and rougher when it comes to the Senate, because some of these guys from all over the United States actually think we live in water. We don't live in water. We're surrounded by water. No matter where you go, you're surrounded by water.
Yes, sir.
But he seems to think that he doesn't know how much longer they can hold on to this. So without this, it would create a big problem, not just for Louisiana, some of the other southern states too.
Councilman, as we all know here, we live at the bottom of one of the largest watersheds in the world. We drain from Montana to New York to 2 Canadian provinces. More water is coming down to us because of additional development and things like that. We've also lost nearly 2,000 square miles of our coast. So we need to acknowledge that we are more vulnerable than some other areas, but it's not that we went and built in places that were vulnerable. Vulnerability largely came to us, and you can't charge us for that. That's why we're trying to pair together the flood protection investments with flood insurance.
But they had already said, they really don't want nobody south of I-10 or whatever. Look how much they flooded in Baton Rouge above I-10 or whatever.
Yes, sir.
It's no guarantee. But I don't know, but I guess you'll have to do your homework. But what about all the forest fires? Every time you wake up in the morning, there's a forest fire. They get away scotch-free?
And so we've advocated now for a few years doing an all hazards policy. Instead of separating out different types of hazards, recognizing tornadoes, floods, winter storms, forest fires, tornadoes, earthquakes, all of it, and just putting them together in an all hazards policy instead of separating things out. So and perhaps having a federal safety net whenever disasters cross a certain threshold, you'd have a reinsurance program that could kick in from the federal government.
Now for the good part. You're doing a good job and you hustle, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you,
I appreciate it.
Councilman Lafont.
Yeah, Congressman, I just want to thank you because I can tell you, with you up in Washington, this area feels a lot safer because you know the coast so good, and you've been doing this your life. I know it's your passion. I just want to tell you thank you so much for the hard fight you've been doing for us, and we really appreciate
You
it.
bet. We thank you, Councilman. We introduced legislation that is law today, provides about $100 million a year in additional every year. Additional coastal restoration funding. We're able to protect the offshore energy revenue sharing. Some of it comes directly to the parish. We're actually working on a bill next month to increase the revenue sharing to the state and to the parishes as well. And in regard to the coastal issues, look, we know that we've got major coastal issues here. We've got to get good at living in coastal areas. And it's not an option to say everybody moves out. A quick statistic to let you know that this is not just a Louisiana problem. If you take all the coastal counties, parishes, and boroughs around the United States, they comprise about 10% of the land area. 40% of the population lives there, and it's increasing. So it's not an option to go tell 40% of the population, y'all have to move. We've got to get good at living in coastal areas, and so we have passed legislation through the House of Representatives that would take the Corps of Engineers out of the Department of Defense, give that mission to another agency where it can be a top priority and not something that's neglected within Department of Defense, where you have the Secretary of Defense working on Syria, North Korea, Iran, and wetlands permits. It doesn't fit. It's not compatible. We need this to be the top priority within a federal agency, so we're working on that as well, but thank you.
Councilman Jones.
Yes, I'd like to echo Mr. Lorraine and Mr. Lafont. Doing a great job, Mr. Jerry. Also, I'd like to give kudos to your staff, Cavell. He's always at hand and willing to do whatever you need to do to get the problem solved and answer to you. So thank you for your service.
Thank you very much, and David's here now, and you know, look, we represent 13 parishes, and very candidly, and I said this to y'all years ago, 70% of our population of this district is in East Baton Rouge, Ascension, and Livingston. It's really easy to not come down here, but we do it on a regular basis. We have our top state staffer lives in Thibodaux, and it's an important part of the state. It's an important part of our district, and you couldn't pull me away from the coast if you tried. It's something I feel very strongly about, and we've got to get it fixed. So,
Councilman Otan.
Yeah, I want to thank you for visiting us, Congressman, and certainly I want to express my sincere gratitude from the people of Lafourche for your fight that you've given, on our behalf, and I also am very appreciative of your visibility representing our parish, and once again through your administration as well. So thank you.
yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Councilman Bourgeois.
Again, I want to echo everything that everybody else is saying, and I want to add that you're talking about the all hazards. I was in the Army. I lived in California. I lived in Oklahoma. I suffered a wildfire, and I suffered a tornado, and I pay the most insurance here in Louisiana, my home state. So I really understand that. If you need any help, what have you. David Cavell is a great staffer. Love having him, and I like everything everybody else said. Thank you.
I want to ask you, y'all could temper that Cavell talk. We can only pay him so much. So, no, thank you.
Councilman Perilou.
And Congressman, thanks again for being here, and please pass on my personal, as an Army veteran, my personal condolences to the McCain family and to your cohorts in the Congress. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you, and I appreciate your service. We just passed legislation, one of the highest pay raises for our military in history, increasing troop strength by about 20,000, and making sure that we have the equipment that they need to maintain the top military in the world. And we're making some very big strides, and we have in the last 2 years, and continuing to make progress in reforming our military. So, but again, appreciate y'all's service.
One quick question. Thank you, Chairwoman. Could you explain to us, because it's been in the news a little bit lately, and maybe the people understand what's going on with Morgans. I saw there's a lot happening. If you could just give us a brief on what's going on, that would help us out.
Had a meeting on this today and spent a lot of time working on this. When I was working for the state of Louisiana, we put more money toward the Morganza project than any other project in the state of Louisiana. In fact, I think it's the largest non-federal funded project in Louisiana history. Hundreds of millions of dollars that we had put toward that from our coastal program. At the federal level, you have $100 billion in Corps of Engineer projects authorized across the country, all 50 states, $100 billion. The White House, and it doesn't matter if it was Obama White House, Trump White House, Clinton, Bush, they all asked for about $1 billion each year for construction. You can do that math. You have a $100 billion backlog in construction projects, you get $1 billion a year. You're not ever going to finish, ever. The Morganza project is estimated to be somewhere around 10, look at that, 10 or 11, you distract him, I'm going to go this way, 10 or 11 billion dollars. The authorization was just over 10 billion, but we add inflation, it's over 11, or right at about $11 billion. So let me say that again. You have a $100 billion authorization in projects across the entire 50 states. 11 billion of it is one project in Terrebonne and part of Lafourche Parish. And so the Corps of Engineers has a policy in the White House, and this is, again, this dates back to Clinton, Bush, Obama, all of them, Trump, where they have something called a New Start policy, where they will not fund projects that have not been previously funded. They want to finish projects that are in the queue before they start new ones. And so the Morganza project has not received federal funds directly from the Corps of Engineers, but still we have pieced together hundreds of millions of dollars in other money. Some of it is federal money. In fact, I mentioned just a few minutes ago the $1.2 billion. We believe that the Lafourche portion of the Morganza project could potentially receive funding under that. And I've already had conversations with the governor, had conversations with some of the levee district folks, Terrebonne levee district folks, about that strategy that we're working on right now. So there's no doubt that the Morganza project has an awful history. It spent nearly $80 million since 1992 studying the project, and they hadn't put a shovel in the ground. As we all know here, over $1 billion in FEMA flood claims. Federal government has an awful approach to disasters where we spend billions after instead of millions before. This is a proactive investment that provides a return on investment. And so if we're unable to get the Corps to fund this thing, we're working on other funding streams to move that project forward, because people, we have La Rose de Golden Meadow and Southern Lafourche. Terrebonne deserves, and of course the other portions of Lafourche Parish deserve the Morganza system to provide a level of protection. So we're continuing to work on this, but we're trying to work around some of the obstacles that are in place right now.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, I won't echo anything, and I wanted to sing a song for David's great work, but I won't do that either today. But you have a good one there. I just want to thank you for your social media, use of social media. For people to be able to, you go on Facebook Live, and for people to be able to get in touch with their congressman that easily, that's, I don't know how many others are doing it. Maybe I'm just not following them, but I really appreciate that. I think if people want to know what's going on and to have access to you is really important.
Oh, Madam Chair, thank you. 750,000 people, 13 parishes. We were one of the first members of Congress in the nation to do it, but very powerful tool to be able to connect with people that can be sitting at home or wherever else, and so it's a great tool. Thank you.
Did Mr. Jimmy, did you have anything? I can't see y'all lights over there, sorry.
Yes, I want to thank you also for working with me.
Yes,
and we work well together. I appreciate everything you've done for Lafourche Parish, and I know there's a lot more to come, so I appreciate you.
Hey, you bet. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it. Well, thank you for the time, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Okay. Okay. A, approval of the minutes. Only one of them. Motion to accept the minutes of the May 8th, 2018 regular session deferred from 5/22/18, 6/12/18, 6/26/18, 7/10/18, 7/24/18, and 8/14/18 Lafourche Parish Council meetings. Moved by Bourgeois, second by Otan. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0.
I need to defer 2 through 7, please. Make a motion to defer 2 through 7.
Motion by Lafont to defer items number 2 through 7. Can I get a second? Second. Second by Councilman Paraloo. Any discussion? Councilman Lafont?
No.
Okay, so we'll just, items 2 through 7 will be deferred until the 9/11 meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Have a proclamation for some overachievers here. Very impressive group of 4-H members who competed in 4-H University in Baton Rouge. And we just wanted to acknowledge all of your hard work and impressive group. I know most of you could come out today. What we're going to do is Ms. Carlene is going to read the proclamation. I'm going to go down, and any other council members after that would like to be included in the picture, I'd invite them to come. So I'm going to go down there. When she mentions your name, if you can come up, get your proclamation. You all get a copy. We wanted you to have it because we wanted your mom and daddies to be happy. And then if you could just stand with me up front until we get everybody's up, and then we'll take a big group picture. Ms. Carlene.
State of Louisiana, Parish of Lafourche proclamation. Whereas on behalf of Council Chairwoman Lucy Sposito, the Lafourche Parish Council wishes to recognize and congratulate those Lafourche 4-H members who competed in 4-H University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And whereas during the week of June 19th through the 22nd, 2018, 38 middle school and senior high 4-H members from Lafourche Parish competed in 4-H University at Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. These 4-H'ers brought home 11 state winners, 1 first alternate, and 23 blue ribbons. They are as follows. 4-H has talent. Cameron Richard, state winner. Oh, shy. Okay. ATV, Jacob Tabor, blue ribbon, 3rd place. Career Prep, Seth Mitchell, blue ribbon. Consumer Decision Making. Oh, she wants to take a picture. Consumer Decision Making, Holland Guitros. Carly Loop, College, and Caroline Savoy, all state winners. Laurel Chesson, Jillian Galliana, and Sydney Plaisance, blue ribbon, 3rd place. Consumer Foods Judging, Alyssa Guidry and Bailey Terrebonne, state winners. Dairy Cattle Judging, Tristan Foray, State High Individual. Okay, Kylie Trish, 3rd place High Individual. Addison Dewey, Blue Ribbon Individual and State Winning Team. Diesel Operations, Riley Dewey, blue ribbon. Fishing Sports, Riley Albert, Adam Hubble, and Miles Smith, blue ribbon, 4th place. Meet ID, Cole Martin, Christian Record, and DeAndrew Thomas. Blue ribbon, 5th place. Outdoor skills, William Powell, State High individual. Seth Montgomery, 3rd place high individual. And Warren Kale, blue ribbon team, 3rd place. Plant science, Cohen Terrebonne, blue ribbon individual. Katie Louvier, blue ribbon individual. And Brandon Ledate, blue ribbon team, 5th place. Public speaking, any other. Megan Chasson, 1st alternate. Others participating, Hannah Gisclea, fashion. Sophie Benoit, Morgan Jennings, and Danny Perkle, fishing sports. And Dexter Troxler, public speaking co-op. Clover College, Claire Babin, Drake Billiot, Brady Kale, Carson Chasson, and Savannah Guidry. Now therefore be it resolved by the Lafourche Parish Council, convened in regular session on August 28, 2018, we do hereby recognize and congratulate those 4-H members who competed in 4-H University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. On behalf of Council Chairwoman Lucy Sposito and the Lafourche Parish Council, she does hereby set her signature and have caused to be affixed the official seal of the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, this 28th day of August, 2018, Matthews, Louisiana.
Look at me. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank y'all so much. I'll be good, Dad.
If anybody here with a 4-H group would like to speak, okay.
I have to say my name and address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And turn the mic on, the little white button at the top. It doesn't sound like it's on.
Testing, yeah, okay, now it's on. Donna Nakam, 167 St. Joseph Street, Thibodaux, Louisiana. On behalf of these kids and their parents, I just want to thank y'all for this recognition. These are some hardworking kids, and it's really, really nice when they get recognized for it. We are super proud of them. They are your future leaders. And just to tell you, David Cavell was a former 4-H'er. So
That
you're welcome.
explains everything.
Okay. Thanks again, and thank y'all for your support throughout the year. We appreciate it.
No, I wouldn't do that. Okay, item C, presentations and/or updates. 9, Chief Cully Griffin with Lafourche Parish Fire District Number 3 to present an annual report. Chief Griffin?
Good afternoon. Cully Griffin, I'm the Fire Chief of Lafourche Fire District 3. Fire District 3 encompasses all of South Lafourche, approximately 2 miles north of the Intercoastal, all the way to the Jefferson Parish line, and then all the way on 24 to Terrebonne Parish. So we cover a large area. If you count the water, approximately 850 square miles. Our board is a 5-member commission, and they have attended meetings at over 80% of the time. We respond to all types of different emergencies, from fires, medicals, rescue, regular rescue, and technical rescues, and also hazardous materials, which of course is a large concern in our community. We respond out of 13 stations, and we have 1 headquarters building and 1 training building. Behind our training building, we also have a training field, which consists of multiple props and a 3-story tower. We have 28 apparatus and 7 utility vehicles throughout the area. Out of the 13 stations, we have 3 of them that are manned 24/7 by paid staff, so we're not a strictly volunteer department anymore. We're considered combination. We have a total of 93 members currently, and out of that is 50 of them are employees and 43 volunteers. All of our personnel are certified statewide and nationally. Our communications center handles 4,600 calls a year. We don't just dispatch for ourselves, we dispatch for Lafourche Ambulance District Number 1. On the fire side, the calls that we've had, we've been increasing over the last few years. In 2016, we ran 766 emergencies. In 2017, that jumped up to 922. And this year, we're over 700 now, and we're going to hit well over 1,000 before the end of the year. So money-wise, we're doing okay. When everybody else had to tighten their belt over the last couple of years, we did it also. We went down twice on our millage. We dropped it 2 years in a row to try to help out, and we saved the taxpayers $200,000. So we're pretty proud of that, and we're still doing like everybody else. We're doing more with less and trying to make ends meet. I don't know what more information y'all wanted. I've never done one of these before, so I guess if y'all have any questions.
Councilman Otan.
Yeah, that's more than enough, Cully. So first, I want to compliment you on that nice mustache, which looks really good as a chief. But yeah, just for my fellow councilmen and people in the audience, so this is Cully's first report, Chief's first report to the council. We appreciate it. We thank you for coming up here. You've given us more than enough information. And certainly a few things I want to add as my neighbor to the south, as a public agency. I'm thankful for the chief and his staff, and he has a couple in the audience, both of which have been very important, both to his success and also to Lockport's success. And I'm really thankful because they've opened up their public facilities. So one of the things he mentioned was his training grounds. He's opened that wide open for other agencies to come in. And also of the calls that he's talking about, we also have mutual aid calls. And I can tell you that we're very appreciative with the fact that they have such a large group that can respond, especially during daylight hours, and assist volunteers that are all around him, neighboring to him. So certainly I thank you for coming here, Cully, and I think you're doing a great job, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that you're the chief representing District 3.
I appreciate that. We do have mutual aid agreements with all of the departments in Lafourche Parish, 3 in Terrebonne, and also Grand Isle Fire Department. So anytime anybody needs help, we're always willing. If we can, we're going to do whatever we can to help you. So.
Councilman Melvin.
I just wanted to echo what Councilman Otan said. I live in Thibodeau and all up and down the parish. I think we're very blessed with our law enforcement and our firefighters. You know, it's like you go to a fire and sometimes you're letting out like kung fu and nobody knows you've been there except for that house or a few neighbors. And it's like, yeah, all of y'all work. It's just really amazing, you know, what y'all do. So I really appreciate it.
Councilman Paraloo.
Chief, thank you for being here. Thank you for the information, and thank you and your men for providing protective services to our community. We appreciate you.
Councilman Lorraine.
Yeah, thank you for coming, Cully, and the people are very satisfied with you guys, and I'll tell you why. You got 80% of the vote on the last millage election. Am I right?
I think it's a little higher than that, actually.
Well, I didn't want to give you all the credit, but 80%. There's not too many up here that gets 80%.
I personally can't take any of that credit. I got a good staff that works really hard.
Right. Then I was listening to what you were saying. You probably got close to 50-50 of paid firemen versus volunteer. What it does, more than likely, you probably can, with all these paid firemen, you can get to a scene a lot quicker than, well, not to say nothing bad about the volunteers, because we need them too. But it also gives jobs to these people, and it stays in the community.
Yes.
And this goes above Ward 10. This is not just the 10th Ward. It goes above the 10th Ward. And y'all are up to date. Of course, y'all got some pretty good money now. But the people just gave y'all some more. So that means that they're satisfied. And also, I need to thank you and your crew. When that tornado hit in South Lafourche not that long ago, y'all were the first ones on the scene, cleaning up the mess. And that's not a fire.
No.
But y'all participate in the community when there's a flood or whatever. Y'all are there. And I think the people see that. And I know they see it because of the results of the last election. So all I can say is keep up the good work, keep it going. And what's the rating? You might have said it.
Right now is a 5.
A 5. But if we wouldn't have that area from Leeville to Fouchon, it would probably be a 3 or a 2. But that comes with the territory. We don't want to neglect them. Of course, y'all have a fire station at Fouchon, but it makes that big gap. And that, you know, if it wouldn't have that, it would be a lot lower. And what that does, it helps out the people for the insurance. Not everybody knows that. The lower we can get the rating, the less you're going to pay on your premiums. And once again, I'd like to thank you, and I see a couple of you guys back there, and the whole crew, even the volunteers. Thank you very much.
Councilman LaFont.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys. Y'all doing a great job. Also, I wanted my mother-in-law's and father-in-law's house burned down to the ground. You were out of town on a training or something at the time. I wanted your captains in the back, Derek, D-Don, all they were there, and they did a great job. And not only during the fire, and they stopped the fire, days later, they came back and checked on them. And that goes so much in the community, and I just want to thank y'all.
We live in the community too, you know, so we try to treat everybody like we would want to be treated.
Right, and we appreciated that a lot. And then I caught a fire not long ago, and it was really nice to see. It was not long after my mother-in-law's, Lockport came down to help. There was a fire on East 26th or 27th Street, and that was a pretty big house fire, and I thought y'all teamwork was great together, so coming together, so it's pretty awesome. Thank you.
Chief, I want to thank you as well, and all of the first responders and volunteers, as well as paid firemen and women. Do you have any idea what's attributed to the increase?
Call volume?
Right.
We took on more responsibility on the medical to help with the ambulance, and we also, more and more people are getting alarm systems. And I know some people are not happy with that, with false alarms, but the way I look at it, I'd prefer to have a false alarm because they have an alarm system, than not have an alarm system and we don't get called at all. So the fire chiefs in the parish are discussing that, a potential fix for it, but that's probably the biggest contributing factor for it.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all.
You did a great job presenting. Number 10, Mr. Henri Boulay with the LA1 Coalition to present a report on the LA1 project.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you a brief update on the LA1 project, and we'll just run through some slides real quick, and feel free to ask me questions. Again, the developments on the project itself, you may recall in 2009, the Leeville Bridge opened up, and in 2011, the extension from the Leeville Bridge down to Port Fourchon opened. And this year, we began construction of Segment E, and later on, I'll have more details on a slide further in, if you can move the slide forward. Okay, you have to go forward one more time, I think, or go back now. Thank you. Nope, go, other way. Okay, right there. So just to let you know, we're working very hard on closing the gap, that yellow line from Leeville at the bottom going up to Golden Meadow, and that's where the new elevated highway will run. You can see existing LA1 on the right of the yellow line. That's between Golden Meadow and Leeville again. That's actually 8.3 miles. It's going to cost $340 million. You may hear us talk about Phase 2. And, you know, one amazing stat is that when the old road is closed, according to a study by LSU economist Lauren Scott, with what happens at Fourchon, not being able to get there, and the impact on the Gulf of Mexico, it's a $22 million per hour loss of GDP to this nation when LA1 is shut down. So we're working very hard to try to get this elevated highway into place. And in closing on this slide, the road was closed for 68 hours for Hurricane Isaac, but the port really could have opened up after 8 hours. The water was off the docks, off the port. So again, if we get this elevated highway complete, we'll be able to get down to Fourchon right after a storm makes landfall, and that way the port can do what it does so well in supporting companies to reactivate energy production in the Gulf of Mexico. And that calms energy markets all around the U.S. for all Americans. All right, so the current phase that you may have seen in the news lately is a $13 million phase in Leeville. So on the right, you can see the sharp 90-degree curve that everyone knows, and they take right now to the left. When we're going to widen that curve, it's going to make it much safer to take that left, and hopefully, you know, it'll be an improvement for all drivers. James Construction is building it out of Baton Rouge. They're also going to build to the right, you see about a 400-foot leg going toward Golden Meadow. That's important because it'll be a platform for a future contractor to build north toward Golden Meadow. They'll be able to use that leg. All right, next slide. This is just some photos of the current construction. Again, those are barges by James Construction and their crew. Next. And most of the project of that 8.3 miles will be built using the end-on construction method. You could see on the left picture, they use temporary piles with trestles to run cranes on, and they actually build the highway under the cranes. That negates the need to dredge a construction canal on the side of the road. And Lord knows if we had to mitigate for a construction canal, the Corps may charge us more than the actual road. So this is how it's built. They put down the pilings. After they put those pilings down on the right, you have to wait so many hours before you're allowed to go back and put pressure loads on those pilings. Next. So why is it so important to complete LA1? Well, because LA1 is the only road to Port Fourchon, and you know, it's an economic driver for our region, obviously. And now Port Fourchon is actually serving 100% of the deep water discoveries in the entire U.S. Gulf of Mexico. So that's anything over 1,000 feet of drilling is now being serviced by Fourchon. So it's very important to the nation. Next. What does that mean for Lafourche and Terrebonne Parish? So again, the latest study by Dr. Lauren Scott said annually the port is responsible for $2.6 billion in business sales in our region and $652 million in household earnings. That that really connects 1 in every 13 jobs in our area is connected to Port Fourchon. And it brings in $12.8 million in sales tax annually, just based on the household earnings. But also $60 million in property taxes that is based out of Port Fourchon. $40 million of that is on watercraft alone. So there are national impacts, of course, of LA1 and Port Fourchon as well. If the road were closed for 21 days, it's estimated we could see a $11.2 billion in lost sales and $3.1 billion in lost household earnings as an impact of not being able to get to Fourchon for 21 days. Again, that converts to either 11 million per hour for a one lane closure, or if the whole road's closed, it's 22 million per hour impact. Next. So what are the benefits of this project besides what I just told you about? Well, certainly in energy security and domestic security, it's going to provide our nation the ability to resume Gulf of Mexico energy production following tropical storms. And secondly, in domestic security, we're incorporating an intelligent transportation system. When you drive on LA1, there's 5 different law agencies monitoring you, starting from the Department of Defense on down to GOSEP, Lafourche Parish Sheriff's, Port Police, and others that all have ability to tie into the camera system. Next. A huge benefit for workers going down there and tourists alike is the safety benefit. So, the biggest benefit is those sidewalls on the elevated highway, which prevents people from going into the marsh like they do currently on the old road. And, we may have wrecks on the highway, but at least cars aren't going in the water and we're not seeing drownings like we had for many, many years along LA1. It's also an improved evacuation route, obviously, to get people out quicker. And, if we have to have emergency response down there, it's a far better road to accommodate that. Next. There are also coastal and environmental benefits. The project alone, we're having to build 100 acres of wetlands to mitigate for the shade that will be under the highway. So the Corps axis to mitigate, there was a formula figured out for shade under 19 miles of elevated highway, and that came out to building 100 acres. Most of that 100 acres is already built around Leeville. In public hearings, the community said, let's do it in Leeville to kind of help Leeville be a little bit more resilient for storms and build marsh on the backside of Leeville. The Port Commission has funded nearly all of that mitigation work because the state just didn't have the money, and the port has been a great partner in doing that for the project. And basically, LA1 and the port support operations of the state royalty revenue sharing funds. So out of all that production going on in the Gulf, you've heard about the state receiving those royalty sharing monies. Some of that's coming back to Lafourche Parish to restore our wetlands. And so LA1's critical to that production happening and to that revenue going to the U.S. Treasury and then coming back to the state and the parish in a roundabout way. And of course, lastly, the road will go down to the coast and provide access for major coastal restoration projects. So if a contractor is going to bid on marsh restoration and he can get his equipment down there and he knows he can get it down there efficiently with LA1, that road plays a role in our long-term coastal restoration efforts. Next. In closing out my presentation tonight, we are seeing traffic increase. This is several months this year compared to the same month last year. So starting in February of this year and going to the right, you can see that we've had a higher amount of vehicles. So they're seeing that at the port. They're seeing more trucks going down. They're seeing they have some new leases that for the first time they've signed in a few years. And it's a positive economic recovery measure for our region. Next. So the coalition is working with state, local, and federal entities to look at all of the above approach in securing the $340 million needed to build that 8 miles, and then to improve the road to Grand Isle as well. And, of course, we're evaluating toll revenues. We're evaluating, federal loans that could be taken out. We're looking at federal appropriations. We're working very closely with Congressman Scalise and Congressman Graves, who is here tonight. I was just up in Baton Rouge today meeting with the Secretary of Transportation on potential bonding monies. The port has been a great partner. The coalition itself raised some money from industry to help fund the part that's being built right now, the $13 million. And we had good partners from industry itself helping out. And of course, those revenues coming back called GOMESA revenues from offshore, the state actually had pledged some of those monies toward LA1. So, and we also want to thank the parish because y'all have been a great partner. You've done a lot in-kind commitments relative to lighting the road, because as you know, DOTD doesn't light roads anymore. They'll come in and put a lighting system in, but parishes have to agree to maintain what DOTD puts in. And we know that's a cost, but we want to thank you. It's important to make those curves safer. The whole road isn't lit up, but the critical curves are. And your maintenance crew does a great job at responding to, changing out lights at those critical curves. And that's where we are, but I just want you to know I'm working hard every day at trying to get the rest of the elevated highway project done.
Henri,
Any questions?
Before we take any comments or
Yes.
questions, can you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Absolutely. Henri Boulet, 4617 South Saratoga Street, New Orleans.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Almost is.
Councilman Lorraine.
Yes, Henri, as far as I know, every toll road you have in the United States, you have an alternative route to get there except this one. Is that right?
I'm not sure, but generally they may have that. Our situation is just so different.
Yeah, I know it's different.
Yeah.
But the people that live in Grand Isle, they don't pay the full toll?
They don't pay anything now.
They don't pay anything?
Yeah, if you're
Okay, that's fine.
If
That's
you're
fine.
a resident of Grand Isle and your license plate and your driver's license has the Grand Isle zip code on it, that you're a true resident, then you qualify.
I don't have a problem with that. You know what my problem is? All these poor workers that are going to Lafourche and have to pay that toll.
Yeah.
That's coming off the top of their check. When things were going good, most of the companies would pay it, but they don't pay it no more. So the ones that actually got to go to work and take $40, $50, $60 a month off of the top of their check, they could buy a TV, an ice box, or whatever. I think that the legislature needs to look into the people that work at Lafourche. Mm-hmm. They should be exempted just like the people that go to Grand Isle. There shouldn't be a difference. Also, the people that live at Point Lafourche, I think they're exempted too. I'm not sure. Which they should be, because you can't do Grand Isle and not them.
Correct.
But my biggest point is the workers. They need some help. Believe it or not, some of these people are working out there and they got to pay that toll. It don't make sense. They're the ones paying the bulk of it.
Well, I understand your point. I push our governor, I push our federal legislators all the time. If we could garner, a federal grant, and I think we'll have some luck with the Trump administration that wants to build critical energy infrastructure. And our governor knows he has to complete LA1. It's really a state responsibility because it's LA1. So we're working on that, Daniel, but we'd have to get money committed to replace the toll revenue because, we do.
I understand that, but you just made a report that millions come out of there.
Yeah, and we're working on that.
The United States would practically be shut down if it wouldn't be for some of this. Look at the boat launch in Leeville. You know how many people don't cross the bridge because because of the tolls, they go to the free public launch. And they
Right.
can buy their gas with, because you can be at Fourchon in an hour or Grand Isle in an hour.
Well, you have some great people working on that. You heard Congressman Graves say that he's working to increase the amount of offshore revenue sharing. It's going to increase for 2 years. And if we could get more back, we could maybe make that work. But we've got to get commitments, out of our state. And you all know our state just settled their operating budget. There's tough times right now fiscally. But we're pushing every angle that we can.
The only thing I want to see is that we can take care of the residents of Grand Isle. I have no problem with that. Why can't we take care of the workers that work at Fourchon?
Thank you. I'll convey that for sure.
Councilman Lafont.
Henri, I just want to thank you for the report, and I understand the road's so crucial, but I'm with Lorraine on the tolls. It's we hear
Sure.
it every day from constituents, and look, we know that we had to sell our soul to get that road, but it just angers me every day that you can drive going to New Orleans, or you can drive going to Baton Rouge, and there's construction 24/7, and nobody's paying a toll in those areas. And like Lorraine said, if it's so important to the United States economy, then it seems like somebody would be helping out. But I think the toll is $350 right now for just a two-axle car, and it continues to go up. What is the rate that we looking at? Because I hear it can go all the way up to 15 for a regular old passenger car.
No, not per car. So I believe the top rate's going to be in between $4 and $5 for a car, but for 18-wheelers, it would go up to the $15.
Well, 18-wheelers already paying 15. They were paying that before the increase.
Well, there are different levels depending on axles and tires. There are actually 7 different rates. So,
Right.
you got to be careful when you look at, hey, which one are you talking about? But, they do escalate because our loan on the Leeville Bridge escalates. It's kind of like a bubble loan. So that's why it's doing that, to make the payments to pay back the TIFIA loan. But if we could ever get the TIFIA loan forgiven by the federal government, it would take all that pressure off. So we're talking about it with them, and we're also telling them we need $340 million just to build the rest to give our economy some resiliency here.
The only thing that worries me, Henri, and you said up to $550, that's a man's lunch.
Absolutely.
And I know some guys already, work and bring sandwiches, so that $5 a day can be hurt. So if you can do anything, and I know you work your butt off, and I appreciate it, but maybe the oil companies, the major oil companies should be funded, and I know y'all went to them too, but it just seems like the working man gets the shaft on that deal a lot, and look, I'm glad that the people and residents of Grand Isle don't have to pay it, but the people in Grand Isle, I don't think travel that road as much as the working man does. So I think they get hit the hardest.
Absolutely. Well, I'll convey that point, and we'll try to get that reduced at some point. And we're stressing on getting the $340 million at this point as soon as we can.
Councilman Melvin.
Thank you, Henri. I appreciate it. I grew up across the bayou from you most of my life, and I've seen y'all working very active in the community. And I know there's some things we definitely would like to see, like Jerry was saying, and Mr. Lorraine, and I know y'all working on it. Just thank you for keeping us informed and for pushing to keep our area, important.
Absolutely. We're working on it every day.
Anything else? Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
We really
Bye-bye.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Councilman Lafont stepped out the room at 5:55 p.m. I overlooked Doug Sheremy, who is representative from Attorney General Jeff Landry's office. So thank you for coming again, Jeff. Doug, we appreciate you representing Mr. Landry, as you do very often. So thank you for that. Number 11 is, she's
going to reschedule it later.
okay, so she's canceled. And we don't know the date, right, Ms. Carleen?
No, ma'am, not at this point.
Okay. The records show that Councilman Lafont stepped back in the room at 5:56 p.m. D, Well, before I get a motion, Mr. Lasang, I know you were sent a letter asking if you wanted your discussion private, in public, or in executive session.
Public.
You want it public? Okay. Okay. Okay, so 12 is not relevant here. We're going to go to E, action from, well, it's not from executive session, but it'll be from the discussion that takes place. 13, resolution requesting Lafourche Parish Council to remove Tommy Lasang as interim parish administrator. It's moved by Councilman Jones. It's deferred from the 8/14/18 Lafourche Parish Council meeting. Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Can I get a second on, does motion fail for lack of a second? No, Mr. Lorraine. So moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Lorraine. Any discussion?
He waived it.
He's asked for it to be public, right, Mr. Lasang? Okay.
Correct.
Councilman Perilou.
Yeah, I would just like to ask the validity of the, what, the reasoning behind the question, so I can make an informed decision on this matter.
Yeah, during the past, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead,
if I may.
Councilman Jones.
I've been getting a lot of complaints. I know probably some of you have been getting complaints. This guy is just destructive to the parish. He manipulates. He's not an administrator, and he's not the best fit for administrative job. We go through several problems. From day one, back in March of 2016, it's been a constantly problem with the same person. And, I take my word, look back in the records. His actions speak for itself. So that's why I got this on here, to dismiss him off interim administrator and have the parish president appoint an administrator so we can vote on it. He's playing games, he's playing the interim part, and he's taking the interim is for a short period of time. This guy I think is for life. So my vote is to remove him.
Councilman Bourgeois.
Mr. Jones, I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody other than myself, but we have 14 months left in administration. I don't know who would take the job doing this. Who's going to leave a career that's going to be qualified, what have you, other than a parish employee? I'm not saying Mr. Lasang is the greatest. I'm not saying he's the worst. I'm just saying that we're now on 4th and 10, and it's not time to be recruiting a quarterback, so to speak. We got to pick somebody, because everybody that the parish president has put up has been shot down, what have you. Let's just mend fences and pick somebody that we can all agree upon. I don't care who it is, somebody that's qualified. It's going to be somebody that works for the parish. Let's just pick somebody, because nobody from outside is going to come in.
Councilman Jones?
Mr. Bourgeois, how many administrators we had in this parish since 2016?
Several.
And they all were doing good. We had some of the best. And you want to pick a quarterback, the last 10 months, we had several good quarterbacks. But the cornerback ran them off. So, if that's the game you want to play, football game, let's get somebody that can play the game. Do the right thing for the people in this parish, not for individual personal use. We had several good administrators, and they all got ran off.
Anyone else from the council? Councilman Groh?
I was just going to mention that, the person in question is a civil service employee, and would go back into a civil service job, which could mean overtime and things. If he takes the same job duties, we could in essence be paying a lot more for his employment. One. Two, since he immediately when I think it was the first time he became interim, he called a meeting and had a whiteboard, and it was myself, Councilman Otan, Councilwoman Esposito, and Councilman Melvin, and he went through all 9 districts and had projects, and they came up on a agenda shortly after, and all these projects are rolling. And I felt that that was the first time we were really called in, saying, let's get something rolling. I mean, wasn't a candid, I mean, it was good discussion, and look, we're gonna get some stuff going, and I think at that time, we have 2 years left, it's time to get the ball rolling. And I just thought it'd be important to mention those 2 things. I felt that, you know, I can call, I mean, he's in a position, and administration's in a position that they make rules that sometimes we're not gonna like, and vice versa, but it's hard for us to sit in the seats that we sit in and question every move or get them on certain things, in my opinion. The projects that I've talked to him about are moving along, and I think we should consider him going back into the civil service position. It could, with budget time coming up, it could cost us a lot more than what we're paying now.
Anyone else? Mr. Jones?
Just want to echo to Mr. Grove on the overtime. This guy goes in on a Friday, walks in the building, comes out, and he charged 3 hours. So, I mean, and that's, nobody tells me that I see that. I sit and I watch. So far as the projects going on, we're getting more of engineering fees than projects right now. It's all engineering fees that we're spending all our money on, and no project is getting dead.
Mr. Jimmy or Mr. Lasang? Mr. Jimmy, would you like to tell us your position on this?
My position is, for the first time, we're getting work done, getting projects done. As all of you know, I've never, in my whole year and whatever months I've served, I've never put anybody out in the districts and say, we're not going to do work in one district. I've represented every district equally and fairly. And I'll tell you right now, Mr. Lasang has got more work done for me as administration than I had before. So this is your decision, but I don't see a cause to get rid of him because he's done the work. And he's done it very well and efficiently. So that's my stand.
Mr. Lasang?
I'd like to talk about the whiteboard we brought in for that meeting and 4 people that were there. Everything, not almost everything, on that whiteboard is completed, in process. It is done. There's more than when y'all walked in the room. Some of y'all had other projects. Ms. Posito, you had a couple of pumps, and there's other things that came up, and we put them on that whiteboard, and y'all took pictures of it. And I have the pictures in my phone also. Everything, not 99%, every one of them has been processed. I can't do anymore. I'm here, I do my work. If you have a reason to fire me, or if you don't have a reason to fire me, it's up to y'all, but I do the work's getting done, it's getting done well. It does go slow because it is government, but anybody who's called me, I've always answered, I'm always there, so.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yes, I think I helped this man more than any councilman in the history of Lafourche Parish. I'm trying to figure out who's the parish president. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who's the parish president? We need an administrator. This interim has got to go. You want to put him administrator? Put him up and put him up for a vote for administrator. Quit knocking this interim stuff. Now, let me tell you how I feel. The workers are not happy, I can tell you that, for the ones that talk to me. And I'm going to tell you what broke my back. When you're going to go after the senior citizens to make them pay rent, I don't care if it's right, you could do it. It's actually wrong. You leave the elderly people alone, okay? And I know what was said, because the lady called and told me, she probably told all of y'all, That was wrong. Then you go after the library. Every administration that sits up here goes after the library all the time. I don't know why, because they got a few dollars. They're getting ready to spend a ton of money. Workers are not happy, gentlemen. The workers were cut. I'm not going to blame it all on them, but I guarantee you had some influence to cut them to 35 hours. See how long that happened? See how many left, huh? Look how many good people we lost. Act is DPW. That's why it's taking longer and longer to get things done. We got buku money in the bank in road sales tax too. I've been talking to that man to get a project. We finally got it on the agenda after almost 3 years, when you could have got it on the first year. He's a brain. He's very smart, but he's not a people's person. I found that out. It took me a long time. Doesn't know how to talk to people. Smart, can't find anybody smarter. But doesn't know how to talk to people. Doesn't have the skills to talk to people. I know. I'm here, and I hear it. Now, not everybody's going to tell you the truth, but not everybody can be lying to you. These projects can go on whether he's here or not. They can go on if we had somebody with some leadership. You don't definitely need one guy. Come on, man. Y'all been here 3 years. 3 years, and we've been playing with this for how long? Almost a year. But I can tell you, not this administration, but the previous administration, I helped that man, and I helped him with this administration. But those days are over. For me, they're over. And the morale is down, gentlemen. He still got a job. He can go back to his civil service, do whatever you got to do. But something needs to be done.
Councilman Bourgeois?
I'm just going to suggest maybe we light this one up.
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to do a roll call, but anyway, I had a question. Mr. Jimmy or Mr. Lasang, how long or how many times were you put as interim, or how long? What time frame do we have? Is this your third time as interim, or do you know? I can't keep track either. Mr. Cantrell?
Well, according to the charter, and I put up people for the administration job, which the council turned down. According to the charter, and I don't know if I read the charter, it says he serves until a permanent one is selected by y'all. So the simplest way of doing it is just select the next person I put up, and we'll see how it goes. And that's going to be before September 7th, I believe, if my date's correct. So I'll put up somebody, y'all vote on it. You know, I put up for finance director, a perfectly qualified person, y'all turned him down.
I was not here for that
Well,
vote, neither was
But I
Councilman
mean, you
Grow.
know, it's getting ridiculous, and the public doesn't like that either. I've tried my best to make sure I put qualified people up. I'm at a point right now, it's getting so close to the end that it's hard to find qualified people that want to serve. And they don't want to be serving because of the way that some people have been bullied. And that's a big problem. You know, you want to be the honest truth. The honest truth is that we need to all work together and quit all this foolishness. I think Michael Gross said it last time, and I agree with Mike. We need to put all this past, and how you like me or dislike me, or I like you or dislike you, I'm willing to work with y'all. But we all got to work together. Now, if I do something you don't like, my office is always available. You can call me and we'll sit down and talk about it. But I get no chance of that because none of y'all call me. And I'm there all the time except Miss Lucy calls me sometimes. Mr. Bourgeois calls me sometimes. I think Mike Grohl calls me a couple of times. Mr. Melvin, I think, emailed me a few things. But, you know, we need to work together and quit all this foolishness. It's gone beyond. And I'll say it again. we need to quit all this foolishness. The public is tired of it, and they're fed up with it, and we need to quit all this bickering. And I'm pleading with y'all now, asking y'all, let's work together for the last year and few months we have and get this thing done. I can't do it by myself. I need 9 other people with me to get it done. So that's what I gotta say to y'all, and y'all take it where y'all like it. I don't wanna argue with nobody, because I don't get nowhere arguing with anybody. All you get is another argument. So let's work together and try to get things done.
Councilman Melvin.
Yes, I have the blackboard right here, and Cyprian, which was already online, and it covers part of Mr. Bourgeois' district, glad to be getting it, but that was already a project that was in motion, been in motion. Dugat Canal, that's been in motion since 2011. I did notify the administration of a project that I had the money in the budget to do, and I don't know, besides cleaning a few ditches, which is what we need, and some other things, I haven't had a major project in my district, and some of these were already online, but I'm just stating facts. The picture's right here.
Councilman Otan.
Yeah, so first off, I just want to respectfully disagree with Mr. Cantrell, because myself and my constituents have felt that some of the applicants or the people that were proposed as administrators actually had virtually no qualifications whatsoever. But I do want to, I know everybody's talking about this whiteboard, and I tell you, I do have to commend Mr. Lassane, because for the last few months, projects that should have been done by the previous administration have really taken off in my area. So I'm extremely appreciative of that, and I'm thankful to Tommy for those projects moving. But what comes down back to reality for me is the morale, which echoes what Daniel said. And a lot of these employees just feel like they're walking on eggshells. That it's they're nervous from years of different issues. So that's where I'm going to be going with this vote. But I do want to leave it with, I'm thankful with the projects that have taken off, because several of my projects should have been done in the previous administration.
Councilman Bourgeois.
I want to say appreciation for getting the Bayou Blue Water Park, Splash Park done, and the Pointe-aux-Champs pump projects moving forward, and I really appreciate it.
Councilman Otan, you may have to take over the meeting for a minute. The only thing, the last 2 administrators I want to with Mr. Cantrell, I don't believe they even showed up for the meeting. So I know I said I would never even consider voting for someone that doesn't show up for what's basically their job interview. And the only other thing I want to say is, look, that whiteboard meeting, a lot was accomplished from that meeting, from that board. Not completely done, but we're working on it. I guess the complaints of the previous administrators was that they really weren't administrators at all. And that's why the breakdown happened where they had to leave. That those people have said to us, no, not just me, but others, that Mr. Lassang had been administrator and actually running the parish. So they took it one step further, and that's why they said whether or not you had terminated them or they resigned. That's what we've heard. And as Mr. Daniel asked a couple of meetings ago, for you to just put Mr. Lassang up, the circumventing the system by putting up an interim has been a problem as well. So that's my concerns with what's happening. Not necessarily, I don't have firsthand experience of Mr. Lassang. Well, I guess I would kind of probably say, I feel like he's been running the parish, but I can't prove that, but it's all of those things combined that I'm concerned with. And I think as a leader, Mr. Cantrell, I would like to know that you're in charge, and I would like to know that when you put people in position, it isn't just to serve as a figurehead, but it's actually to do the job, not to give someone else someone to work through. And that's been my concerns.
Mr. Jimmy, you want to rebut?
Yes. The job of an administrator is to administrate what the parish president wants. Now, Sometimes we disagree on things. I've disagreed with other administrators, but my wishes, I'm hopefully it gets done. Now, that's what an administrator does. You may not see it, you don't work in the everyday operations like I do. Sometimes it just happens that you see something and what it presumes to be is not what it is. But may it be, whatever I gotta say to you today, is that the parish administrator always works for the parish president and tries to get things done, his wish. And if he doesn't, then I guarantee you, that's why they get fired. So, anyway, that's all I gotta say.
Ms. DeGrow.
I was just going to ask, in his current capacity as an interim administrator, does he get any overtime?
Get comp time, paid out as straight time if he elects to pay it out.
Okay. And in going back into civil service, I mean, I understand a vote on principle if people are getting complaints about his mannerisms or his management style, but he's going to be doing the same thing. And we all know that from a civil service role, except for signing checks. Nothing's going to change. We all know that. Right? Does anybody disagree with me on that?
And that's what a few of us said already, that he was doing the job whether he's in it or not. So, anything else from the council? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Okay, so we'll move forward with this, and I think instead of, because sometimes this board doesn't work well, the resolution says, number 13, resolution requesting Lafourche Parish Council to remove Tommy Lasang as interim parish administrator. We already moved in second, right? Okay, so if you want to remove him, again, everyone, all of you realize that Tommy Lasang doesn't leave the building. He just goes back to, is it risk manager? What is project manager? Project manager position, which is a protected civil service position. And so this isn't terminating him, this is removing him from the interim parish administrator role. Does everybody get that? Okay. Let's do things a little bit different. We're going to, Ms. Carleen, we can do roll call, but let's start at 9 this time. And go in order, not necessarily how we're sitting.
Oh, okay,
You know what I mean?
wait.
Okay, all in favor of, oh no, I'm sorry, Ms. Carlene's going to do roll call.
Mr. Lorraine,
After my speech, yes.
Mr. LaFont,
Believe it or not, I'm going to vote like Daniel. Yes.
Mr. Otan,
Yes.
Mr. Perilou,
Yes.
Mr. Bourgeois,
No.
Mr. Melvin,
Yes.
Mr. Grow,
Nay.
Ms. Sposito,
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Item 13 passes 7 yeas, 2 nays.
7 yeas, 2 nays, with the nays being Councilman Grow and Councilman Bourgeois. Item passes. 7-2. F, legal advisor report. Nothing. G, public wishing to address the council, public hearings, agenda items, etc. Any public wishing to address the council, Ms. Carleen?
Yes, Ms. Tara Lede, if you'd come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, Ms. Lede. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Tara Lede, 537 Church Street, Raceland. I'm here on behalf of Annette Fontana, Clerk of Court, concerning the precinct location change in Des Allemands. We're asking that the council vote in favor of it, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Now, that's way later in the agenda, right?
Yes.
So we don't want to make you sit through that. What number is that, Ms. Carleen? All right. I didn't have any questions. I just want to make sure. You're doing a great job, by the way, with all these changes.
Thank you, and thank you for y'all help.
It's been a busy year, huh?
And we're not finished.
You're not finished, yeah. One more?
Maybe 2.
Oh, gosh, okay.
Thank you.
No one had any questions for Ms. Tara? Okay. Anyone else, Ms. Carleen? Thank you, Tara.
Mr. Barry Mathern. There he is. State your name and address for the record, Mr. Mathern.
My
Please
name is
remember-
Barry Mathern. I live at 186 East 16th Street, Galliano. And my question is, after reading the last issue of the Lafourche Gazette on the boat launches, that was all listed in the paper. I would like to know why the Delta Farm boat launch was listed, was not on the list.
Is that question for Mr. Cantrell? Mr. Cantrell?
With the question of improvements,
Improvements,
because it's pretty beat up right now, and I frequent it quite a lot.
Mr. Cantrell?
I had no part in that article. Nobody interviewed me. They just wrote the article. Delta Farm is on the list. We've done some improvements where we cleaned it up. And there's a lot more to come. Right now, it's hard to pull people off of cutting grass and everything else.
Correct,
So-
yeah, I've seen that.
So we will be working on that boat launch because I think it's essential for the people in the roads, since we never could get the other one back.
Yes, sir.
So guarantee you, we'll be working on it. It's in my plans, and I had no input on that article at all. In other words, but I will guarantee you, Mr. Lede, that we will be working on that boat launch.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Otan? Hold on a second. Hang
Yeah.
on, sir.
Yeah, I just want to comment, though, that as far as funding goes, we've put a lot of money into that in the last couple of years. We have boat launches that have been neglected for years.
Yes, sir.
Talking about years, so, I don't want to rain on the parade, but there's been a lot of money in the purchase of that property. So I'm hopeful that we'll continue to maintain all the other boat launches, not dump all of our money over there. My
Yeah.
daughter and my son-in-law launch there, so I'm glad it's open.
Yeah,
But I
I'm aware
just
that
want to reiterate that this administration, this council was supportive in purchasing that land and got that launch back open.
Right, I'm aware the parish, they just recently acquired it and all that a few months back and all that. Okay, thank you.
Hang on a second. Mr. Cantrell?
Yes.
Do you have more?
Ms. Otan, we have money set aside for all the boat launches. We're going to try to do as much as we can to improve them. I think it's essential for Lafourche Parish. It's essential for recreation because kids go fishing with their parents and also people use it for other reasons, for their livelihood, crabbing and whatever. So that's a very essential part. Lockport's been neglected, I agree with you, but I had nothing to do with that. But I have some money set aside for it. And as you said on your statement, well, I revived some projects that were lost by the previous administration, and we've been working hard to fulfill those things. And we found some in Daniel's district that was neglected and lost, maybe, but we were able to pull it back. So anyway, we are spending a lot of money on boat launches, and we will spend more. Everyone needs improvements. We're going to go to LED lighting if we can, save money there. And we have to do some structural work on the walkways because they have rotten wood. We're going to be working on that also. So there's a lot of time. We have money. We have set money aside over the years. And so we have money to do some of the maintenance. Not all of it, unfortunately, but we will be doing on every boat launch.
Councilman Otan?
Yeah, and thank you, Mr. President. That was my point, is that this administration and this council has been supportive of public boat launches.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, I always said I'd support any boat launch in Lafourche Parish because it brings people. But I don't know who gave the information for that article, Mr. President, but it was terrible. They put $1,600 for Golden Meadow. We drove 2, 4, 6, 18 pilings. We spent about $50,000 in Golden Meadow for some repairs. They put 1,600. They put a water meter in Leeville for X amount of dollars. I'm sure the meter's there. I hope they run the line, because we have some big tournaments coming in there. We already had one from overseas, and we had one recently for Relay for Life. And with that water line, we're gonna have more. They left out LaRose. So man, Lockport needs to be done. We've been working on that a long time. You left out LaRose. You didn't say what was done in Golden Meadow. And whoever wrote that article, I don't like to criticize nobody, but shame on them.
Well, Daniel, can I speak?
Mr. Cantrell, go ahead.
You know, I didn't write it because my name was left out, so I just want to.
Well, you the president. You should have proofread it before it went out to the public.
No, I didn't.
Come on, man. What?
That was written by a newspaper.
And I'm not against the person that wrote it, but man, that was very terrible.
We had no input, or I had no input.
Well, I guarantee you, if I was the parish president, I'd have some input.
Well.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else on that? Ms. Carleen, do we have anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Reggie Dupre. If you'd come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Mr. Dupre, please remind me of 3 minutes.
Reggie Dupre, 4127 Bayou Estates Drive, Berg, Louisiana. I'm here in my capacity as Executive Director of Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District. I'm also the former state senator for District 20, representing majority Lafourche and Terrebonne parishes. I'm here in support of the resolution, which is, I think, number 50 on the agenda. This is requesting the federal government to finally be a partner in a federal project. After 26 years and $72 million, we have zero appropriations that have gone to the Corps of Engineers for this federal project, yet we do have $400 million that's built or under construction in both Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes. Now that we have completed or substantially finished our first goal between Pointe-aux-Chenes and Bayou du Large, we're working on in Lafourche Parish. One of our top goals is between connecting Cutoff to Pointe-aux-Chenes. There is currently $21 million appropriated, of which $3 million came from the Parish Council here of 2008 disaster dollars. We also have set our top priority for both parishes, all 3 levee districts in this region, both Lafourche levee districts and Terrebonne levee district, for the governor to help us fund the Grand Bayou floodgate in Lafourche Parish just south of LaRose. That will finish connecting that eastern flank, for us, and western for South Lafourche and for Lafourche Parish. So this resolution is already passed. CPRA in Baton Rouge at the state level, Terrebonne Levee District, North Lafourche Levee District, South Lafourche Levee District, Town of Lockport, Lafourche Chamber, Home of Terrebonne Chamber, Morganza Action Coalition, South Central Industrial Association, Bayou Industrial Group in Thibodaux. It is pending in Terrebonne Parish government, so we would ask Lafourche Parish government to go on record, like all the other political subdivisions in this region, asking the federal government to finally step to the plate on protecting us and building this project. This project, combined with La Rosa, Golden Meadow, and South Lafourche, will protect 99% of the populations of Lafourche and Terrebonne Parish. And it's really going to be the economic base for us in the future in the 21st century.
And Mr. Lorraine.
So without that gate, that levee will protect the LaRose, Lockport race, and probably Highway 90.
The Grand Bayou
the one
gate?
that's going across from South Lafourche to get and Grand Bois. The way it's connecting from South Lafourche to Pointe-aux-Chenes, whatever.
Right now,
they're working on that right now, right?
There's 2 construction projects underway right now as a dredging project, dredging about 6.5 miles of Grand Bayou between Pointe-aux-Chenes going towards LaRose. As Weeks Marine is dredging the bayou and stacking the material to build a levee. There's also the CPRA directly is handling the southern portion of the Apache impoundment, or the, which we call Reach L, for 2 miles from cutoff going almost due west. That's under construction. It's about a $6 million project, which is currently under construction. There's a 1.5 mile gap. That should be enough money to at least build a foundation on the 1.5 miles between that point and Grand Bayou. But the Grand Bayou floodgate itself is about $20 million. That's going to be the expensive one. We're trying to get the funding from the state to do that.
But that's a real good project.
Absolutely.
Because what gets to me, if you look at that gap in South Lafourche coming toward Lockport and La Rose, if you don't have nothing there, that would be like the Mr. Go. It's the same thing in Des Allemands. Everything is blocked off, and something comes in Des Allemands, Thibodeau's gonna have water on Canal Street. I can tell you that right now, and you know that better than me. They might not think that up north, but it's gonna happen if you get a bad one. Because it's gonna funnel, on the east side, it's gonna funnel right by Des Allemands. As far as Lucy's area, that's all gonna be, and on this side, if we don't get that fixed, it'll be the same thing on the west side. It'll just funnel on in.
The big federal project, which none of us have enough money for, is going to be building the 2 intercoastal floodgates. I mean, that's 2 big sector gates, one in La Rose and one west of Houma. I mean, they're over $200 million apiece, so we're going to have to get the federal government involved if we're going to fund this. Now, remember, that's the only connection between the Barataria and the Terrebonne Basin. That water can travel from east to west through La Rose on that intercoastal. That's going to be the gap after we finish between Cutoff and Pontchartrain.
And one more thing, Senator, you were a senator at one time, so I can call you Senator. You need to get a resolution from the chambers.
We did already.
You did?
If it passed.
Well, excuse me. Thank you, sir.
Hang on a second. I spoke to Mr. Dupre and earlier today, and he had a great idea in that maybe we can call a special meeting. He said it would take like 30 minutes to an hour for the North Lafourche, South Lafourche, and Terrebonne levee districts to just do a presentation on update hurricane storm protection. I think that would be something that we could all attend if we did a special meeting, and I think it would be very informative. If you haven't attended a levee district meeting, it's a good idea to do it. I would love to see all 3 of them.
The 3 districts are working together very, very closely. I mean,
Right.
What's going on in the, between Pontchartrain and Cutoff is really an effort of all 3 levee districts. I mean, it's North Lafourche's machine with state paying for the fuel and the labor that's being used to build a mitigation on the Grand Bayou unit in Lafourche Parish right now. So we kind of, all 3 of us all working together on this.
Right, well, I think that we could probably get a lot of attendance, and
Yeah, we'd be
y'all
happy
be
to come
able to
back.
provide
Yeah,
it.
like I said, it would be about 45 minutes to really give, slides and where we are. We have so many projects, you can't just do it in 5 minutes. It's impossible.
Okay, any further comment?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupre.
Thank you.
Ms. Carleen? Anyone else?
Sheet now.
Oh. Yeah, we're waiting on just someone to complete a form. I think they called someone earlier saying that they couldn't make, they would probably be running a few minutes late. So, not that late yet, but you can call him, Ms. Carleen.
Mr. Benoit? Thank you. You can stay at the podium, Mr. Benoit. You need to state your name and address for the record, sir. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Kelsey Benoit, 3022 Choctaw Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana. How y'all doing? About a month ago, a friend of mine had contacted the Office of Community Action regarding some rental assistance, and I had went there with her to get that process started. Bureaucracy took effect. Nothing happened. She was still waiting as of today. Well, week and a half ago, I went to the parish government building and I spoke to Mr. Lasang and Ms. Savoy. And during the conversation Ms. Savoy, Mr. Lasang and I were having, I noticed Mr. Lasang had his phone on record. He was recording the conversation. So I went to the parish building 2 days later and I filed a public records request. That was 2 Thursdays ago, actually. The Monday morning, last Monday, which was, I think, the 20th, my phone rang at 7:59 in the morning, and I called back at 8:03, and I asked the receptionist, who might have called for me, and I told her I had spoke to him the prior week. She transferred me, put me on hold for a few seconds, and he told me, he says, Kelsey Benoit. I said, yes, sir. He says, you recording me? I said, no, I'm not. He said, well, I don't care if you do or not. He said, I'm not the one you want to mess with. He said, I hope you understand that. I ain't no little boy. And then he proceeded to tell me that he will ruin my life. And he said, just like I could dig up on him, he could request stuff about me too. And that he would ruin my life. Just know who I was messing with, he said. And he ended the call by calling me a boy. I called Mr. Jones. I also filed a complaint with the sheriff's office. And he told the deputy that I go there to intimidate people and harass people. First of all, the only one who was intimidated was Mr. Lasang on the 3rd floor of that building, because he knew what I was there for. I was there for the truth, and I wanted that recording. He knew that. The girl at the front desk had no problem me sitting there waiting. Nobody did but him. And he threatened me. I felt threatened by what he said, but he would ruin my life. And he denied saying it. But again, that's what happened. All because he recorded my conversation, and I went there seeking that recording, and he called me, threatened me that morning. And I know I talk fast. I'm sorry, y'all. Just my nerves.
Any comments, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, Mr. Benoit, thank you for calling me. We've been having problems in community action, but the good part about this, you came 5 minutes too late. Mr. Lasang is no longer the interim administrator. So hopefully we can get your problems resolved and move forward, okay? But thank you for coming.
Do appreciate it, man.
Right.
Thank you.
Mr. Jimmy or Mr. Lasang, y'all wanted to address that, Mr. Lasang?
You might notice he said he was coming for somebody else. We can't divulge that information to him like he thinks we can. It was somebody else that he was sort of representing. I talked to him. I didn't threaten to ruin his life. He's already done that on his own. Y'all don't know his criminal record, but that's not to be discussed here, I guess. So I'm not going to sit here and listen to him come in there and want to sit there 2 hours to intimidate. The people at the front desk are intimidated, threatened that by his presence there. I wasn't there. I on to lunch, and Mr. Abbey had to go down to address him because the girls there were worried, justifiably so. So that's that. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that, and I don't think anybody should. And I'm not going to let the employees be subjected to that for sure.
Sir,
Name and address again for the record, please.
Kelsey Benoit, 3022 Choctaw Road, Thibodaux. Miss Carlene was actually present one of those days I went there, and I talked to Miss Michelle at the front desk. I know her personally. There was nobody intimidated about me down there. If they would have did like they did Mr. Reggie. They called the sheriff. They had me drug out of the building. Simple as that. There was nobody intimidated but Mr. Lasang on the 3rd floor of that building. And that's what I got to say about it. There was nobody complaining about nothing. Mr. Abbott came down to see someone else that was there from Mr. Cantrell, and in the process, he spoke to me. He didn't come down there just for me. That man there is out of control, and point blank. And my criminal record, it speaks for itself. I have a conviction. You don't. That's the only difference, sir. Is you don't have the conviction yet. It's the only difference. I'm a criminal. It's no secret. You just don't have a conviction yet. That's it. It's the only difference between me and you.
Okay. Hank, if you have to state your name and address for the record, please.
Kelsey Benoit, 3022 Choctaw Road. He made a comment. He called me a punk. That's professional, sir.
Okay, can we stop with any name calling or anything.
And that's why he got fired.
Just a minute, Mr. Lafont. Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Mr. Benoit, again, I'm sorry. Whether a person have a criminal record or not, if you come there to help a person get assistance, we, as people of this parish, working for the public, we're supposed to try to help the best way we can.
And I appreciate y'all. Y'all all doing an excellent job. I do appreciate y'all. It's frustrating. So, thank you.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I
Mr.
just want to ask
Benoit,
Mr. Benoit a quick question. I mean, I don't know you from Adam, but you said you were representing somebody else. Are you an attorney?
No, I had gone there because I actually took her to community action and went to apply for the benefits with her that day. And I just went there to ask for some information because they weren't giving her any answers. So I went there just to see what I could find out for her. She didn't know the process, and that's why I went. And they couldn't divulge anything to me. I understood that, but if that's the case, why record the conversation? That's confidential as well. And I mean, if there was a recording, where's it at? Was it destroyed? I mean, that's against the law. It was official business. If recorded, there should be a recording of it. Personal phone or parish phone.
If I had
Hang on a
recorded,
second, Mr. Lasang. Go ahead, sir. Finish what you're
Personal
saying.
business or parish phone or personal phone. If it was done during the course of business, it should be preserved and it should be a recording.
Mr. Lasang.
I wish I had it recorded because I'd make you out a liar, but that's all right.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else, Ms. Carleen? H, engineers, architect reports. Any engineers hanging on? Please state your name and address for the record, please. Jack.
Good evening. Jack Plaisance with Piciola and Associates, 115 Piciola Parkway. I do have a slideshow, and I'll talk about our 3 engineering projects and the CDBG projects that we're doing management services for. You've seen the slide before. This is Road Sales Tax District 24L, roadway and drainage improvements. This month we did have a pre-construction conference with Barrier Construction on August 2nd. The notice to proceed has already been issued for August 28th. The current construction contract amount is $2.1 million, and the budget is about 2.5 as it states on the slide. The EDA grant program, LA 308 Turning Lane Airport Access Road, we're advertising for bid currently. We have a pre-bid scheduled for the 28th, and bids will be open on September 12th. The project budget is about $1.17 million. Moving on to Choctaw Road, levee rehabilitation and permitting. We submitted a joint permit application back in May to the Corps of Engineers and DNR, and we've been working through requests for information and submitting additional details over the past 3 months and working through the permitting phase. I'll also briefly talk about the 4 CDBG projects that we're doing construction management program management services for. The Dugas Canal project, we have a contract with Byron Talbot that was approved at the previous month's council meeting. Contract documents are being processed. We are working to schedule a pre-construction conference very soon. And David Waits and his office are already starting to review some of the preliminary submittals and work through some preliminary work prior to the pre-construction meeting. West Side Drainage, as I've mentioned before, the work is complete. Byron Talbot submitted a clear lien certificate this month, and the retainage is being processed. Item 32 on the agenda tonight is a resolution to approve the grant amendment number 2 to formally close out the project. Par and LaRose Pump Station, you know that we've completed the pump modifications. and pumps were installed back in June. And right now, the certificate of substantial completion is in process, as well as some remaining punch list items. And the final balancing change order is also being processed, which will adjust dates and possibly some work. And finally, the Lafourche Parish Recreation and Community Center. We're currently advertising, I should say Duplantis is working and currently advertising for bids on this project. There was a pre-bid conference held this month on the 7th, and the bid opening is scheduled for September 6th. And the construction budget is a little over $3.9 million. So that concludes the general report. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to entertain as best I can.
Councilman Melvin.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
Very good. Good afternoon.
Good, good, Jack. Look, I'm curious. Pre-construction meeting for the Dugas Canal. Now, is that going to take place here? Is that the one you're talking about, pre-construction, as y'all have meetings?
Typically, that would be taking place at the engineer's office, close to the site. It may follow up with some site inspection work.
Okay. Because I know I sent an email out, just an email as a request. Pretty please. Maybe we can set up something for my constituents for this project that's been going on since 2011. It is what it is. We're just trying to move it forward. And I just wanted to inform them because I know that I've been getting calls already about different things happening. Trucks taking pictures, going through the neighborhood, for insurance reasons. And I tell them that, the project's been coming. Of course, I've been telling them for years, but looks like we finally have something. And I just wanted to have a simple meeting. You can call it a neighborhood meeting. I mean, town hall, neighborhood, whatever you want to call it. Did you get that email?
I was copied on it. I can tell you that we're available to assist, but your question really needs to go to the administration.
Yes, it did. It did. I made some phone calls. I didn't really get the answers I was expecting. But I did send Mr. Cantrell an email this morning at 10, and I have no answer yet. Mr. Jimmy, did you get my email? And did you have an answer?
Mr. Jimmy?
I didn't get a response yet, and I'm just trying to help my people.
You'll be getting a response in the next day or so, because I've been working on it.
Okay, well, I mean, as far as a response, are you telling me that at least somebody from your administration, maybe Mr. Barnes and an engineer, would you give them permission to come and at least meet with the people just to get some questions answered so that there's not a barrage of questions bombarding me and or your office during the project?
Mr. Cantrell?
You'll be getting a response, and I think you'll like it, so that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anything else for Jack? Jack, thanks for all the information you provide us ahead of time. I really appreciate it. And
May I bring up the topic of the west side drainage on item number 32 tonight?
sure.
Item number 32 is a resolution to approve the second grant amendment to formally close out the project. I know I've discussed it at least a couple of times here. It was deferred a couple of times. I just wanted to make a statement that we did also receive information and a formal correspondence from the Office of Community Development this month, establishing some deadlines to formally close out the project. As I've said before, the work is complete. Everything in the grant scope of work was completed according to the application. As I think you all know, the project was completed about $200,000 under the budget for the project. The normal protocol has been when the project is complete, the money is moved into a temporary line item until an appropriate need is determined for those funds. If the amendment is not processed, those funds are not available. I want you to understand that it's not $200,000 in a parish account. It's $200,000 of grant funds that, if spent properly, the parish can be reimbursed those funds. So I just wanted to make those statements again. If there's any questions about it, I'm here to try to answer those questions.
Councilman Jones?
Jack, didn't I speak to you before the meeting about that situation?
Yes, sir, we've
And
spoken
it's still
several
not
times.
completed? And it's still, the machines were sitting on the job. My people are still flooding. Your engineer fee is not coming out of that $200,000. Until that job is completed and the people is not flooding, forget about it.
Mr. Jones, with all due respect, the comments you just made are not appropriate to what this amendment is about.
How many people have sent a letter from the CDBG to this council to do that amendment? How many times have you done that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat this question?
How many times had somebody from the state sent the email to this council to move the money, close the fund? How many times since I've been on this council?
You're asking if the Office of
Yeah, I can
Community
tell you zero
Development...
time. That was the first time it ever happened, okay? When is the deadline for that money?
Mr. Jones...
When is the deadline for that money?
The state, what I would like to do is to read that letter.
December 2020. Am I right?
No, sir.
That's what's in the email.
No.
You're incorrect. I'm just going to frankly tell you, the information you're saying is incorrect.
Until you sit down at the table, the machines were there, the people are still flooding, the job is inside the scope of the project.
Wrong.
You saying it's wrong, but you had a man out there, an engineer, T. Baker Smith, Dustin, and Terry Araby, and they both, along with me, saw the problem, and it should have been corrected.
Mr. Jones,
You wasn't there. So, Dustin, I'm not going to stand up here and argue with you because that $200,000, until that problem is fixed, don't look for no engineer fee out of that.
I'm not trying to argue with you, but what you're saying is not factual, and I just want to make sure that this council understands the truth of the matter and what will happen if you do not move the funds into that unallocated item. Simple as that.
Until the problem is fixed, Dustin. That's the last time I'm going to say it.
My name is Jack.
Jack or whatever. Dustin, Jack, until the problem is fixed in my district.
I'm gonna make one more statement, and I'm gonna respectfully leave this alone. The work that was described in the grant application was 100% complete for under the amount of the budget. If you choose not to move those funds, you will never have an opportunity to use those funds anywhere else, the grant funds. It's as simple as that. And with that, I'm going to close.
Hang on a second, Jack. Mr. Cantrell, you had something to add?
Yes, Jack, would you please read the email? The deadline is September 15th. If that money is, that project is not closed by September, read the email from the people that sent it. We're going to lose $200,000, and we said to $200,000 to that project from the Laurel Valley was $150,000, and from Lockport was around 40 somewhat thousand. I can't remember exactly the figures in my head. But
Mr. Chairman, Jack can read what he wants until the administration have him do that job, because the administration stopped them from doing it, that part, and it would have cost less than $5,000.
Respectfully, I'm going to disagree with those two statements.
You can read your email.
Mr. Cantrell?
I want to disagree with Mr. Jones. I want to make it pretty clear, this administration didn't stop them from doing anything at all. If Mr. Jones has a problem, if he wants to meet with me, I'll meet with him out there, and we can see if we can get it done through Public Works. But I can't see us losing $200,000, but out of your mouth said $5,000 worth of work. So make a meeting with me. I'll bring Mr. Barnes out there, and we'll try to solve your problem, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Bourne, how long we been discussing this? Since April, May?
March.
March? So, if you could have did the job since March, why didn't we do it? Why
Because-
didn't we do it?
Because you never called me and said there was a problem out there. I heard y'all going back and forth, and it was very simple. All you had to do is say, Mr. Cantrell, meet with me out there, and I would have met with you and Mr. Barnes out there, and I would have helped you out. Although, you'd never asked for any help.
I called the administration, and
Who you
you
called?
sent Mr. Terry out there. Did you, James?
I didn't send Mr. Terry.
James Terry came out there and dusted
Whoa.
with T. Baker Smith.
I never sent anybody out there.
Well,
Let's make it perfectly clear.
Well,
Whoever
they were
went out
out
there
there.
was to meet with you, and I don't know anything
they
about
were
it.
out there,
But
and I met with them.
We're not getting nowhere, so let me tell you what I'm planning. If you want to call me, we'll meet out there. That for $5,000, I'll gladly do that job so that nobody floods. I don't want anybody to flood. So let's quit bickering, quit all this stuff up, and give the man, let the man read his email, and you'll see what he says.
Mr. Barnes, can we meet out there tomorrow?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
4:30, then we can resolve it.
do y'all have a time that y'all want to meet out there? Or do y'all want to set that?
4:30.
Mr. Barnes, can you meet at 4:30?
It's in,
Mr. Cantrell?
yes, it's also in the city of Thibodeau, so we'd have to have Mr. Chasson, I think, who's a public works director there, to come and meet with us. And on the Parish side, I'll do whatever part I have to do, to make this go.
The whole project was in the city of Thibodeau. The majority of the project was in the city of Thibodeau.
Well, I will work with, if Mr. Chasson wants to work, and we can figure this out, and if I can do anything, I'll help out to get it solved. So, I mean, we'll see what we can do.
Mr. Melvin?
Mr. Jim, I just want to make sure you're going to be around here for questions of administration.
My wife has problems. I should be over there with her right now. She has an MRI on her knee. She's gonna need an operation. So I've been here, and I shouldn't have even came tonight because poor thing, she's in suffering with her knee. But I'd like to leave here as soon as I can.
Well, we'll say I promise you, I'll say a prayer for your wife tonight.
Well,
okay?
thank you very much. She
But
needs
real quick, since you might not be here, I just want to let you know that I wish you could just tell me if y'all gonna have a meeting with my people now. If you got such good news and I'm gonna like it, let's just let it all. I mean, are we gonna meet?
You're gonna be getting an email from me tomorrow, and you can tell them your people tomorrow, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm just asking you to
I don't
commit
wanna-
now, since we are at a public meeting,
you'll
because
have-
I'm trying to carry and help my people.
You have to, first of all, line up, this is the email virtually with, I think, I don't remember. Eventually it says you have to line up the meeting with Mr. Plaisance, and we'll see, we'll probably be there.
Well, I don't give Mr. Plaisance orders. I don't give Mr. Barnes orders. You do. This lies directly on your chair, sir.
Right. Well, I understand that.
So I'm just asking for you to commit.
You'll get yes, I'm committing. You're gonna get the email tomorrow, but it's specifics, okay?
About a meeting that I'd like to have just to inform my people about the project that's coming and some of the details?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Jack,
Yes.
I know you're ready to go. Can you read the email? Is it a short email?
It's
Before you leave?
three short paragraphs, and let me just say ahead of time, the Office of Community Development has been urging the parish to close out this project. The project is complete, in fact, according to what was approved in the application, and it finished under the budget. So those funds can be reallocated, or they can be forgotten about and left where they are, and the 200,000 can stay with the state. That's really the other option here.
Hang on a second. Let the record show that Mr. Melvin and Mr. Groh stepped out at 6:58 p.m. Go ahead, Jack.
So this is from Kristen Abear. She is our infrastructure specialist. We have a meeting, conference call once a month on all of these projects, and Julie Border, along with HGA, requested that she make a statement because of the difficulties we've had in the past several months in having this application amendment approved. So I'll read. Good afternoon. Since this project has reached substantial completion as of April 25th, 2018, our office is requesting that the parish submit the final request for payments and transfer the remaining unused funds out of the project by amending the Gustav Ike recovery proposal and the project application in order to move forward with project closeout. It is my understanding that there will be a $199,000 $984.41 unused funds from this project to be reallocated. Please keep in mind as you reallocate these funds that we have established a timeline with HUD that all Gustav and Ike Parish Recovery Program projects must be complete and all funds expended by the end of 2020. To ensure that this project is continuing to advance to closeout, I'm recommending that the parish submit the documents stated above no later than September 15th, 2018. September 15th, 2018. Therefore, the project completion report will be due 90 days from the date of this email. The date of the email is August 15th.
Mr. Cantrell, you like to?
Deadlines have been established. The project needs to be closed out.
If we don't do it, the money is gone. And according to Mr. Jones, for $5,000. I will work with the city, see that we can get, I don't want any house to flood and anybody to flood. So maybe we can get cooperation with the city to spend that $5,000 and that we can get it done for the people that houses may flood. Okay. I will work with him. If he wants to work with me, we'll get it done. And it's a promise I'm making to him tonight, that we'll try our best to get it done for him, for the people that he represents.
Let the record show that Mr. Grove stepped back in at 7 o'clock and Mr. Melvin stepped back in at 7:01. Mr. Jones.
Yes, Mr. Cantrell, we got 14 days before the next meeting, which would be September 11th. Close out September 15th. So the Public Works Department got 2 weeks to get over there and do the job. And Mr. Bourne, when we do the job, I like to get an estimate price on what it costs to bring a machine, the labor, and the culvert cleaner. See how much that comes up to when we complete the job.
Yes, the cost analysis.
Okay, thank you.
Jack.
The deadline is for the submittal of all of the closeout documents for the project, not for the amendment to be agreed on and begin the processing. So according to the state's email, you really don't have that much time.
Are you all administering this grant?
We are. We have been since the beginning.
Okay.
I personally am very well aware of what the application originally looked like, what the engineer was directed to do. They did a fine job. They designed a project below budget. The contractor did a fine job, completed the project before budget, and you have a remaining balance. This is a simple matter. It's a remaining balance with the state that can be used if reimbursable funds are spent. It's not staying there. It's not going to be available for whatever you like. It has to be an approved fundable expenditure. There's nothing near the West Side project or that can be added to the West Side project to use these funds. I've said that before. It's unfortunate. I understand Mr. Jones' dilemma, but this is not going to help him.
And you all can't prepare to close out documents prior to the September 11th meeting. If you know the numbers, you have all the totals now, you couldn't prepare them and the documents and get ready to.
It says that she's recommending that the parish submit the documents stated above no later than September the 15th.
I'm
sure we can make arrangements. I just wanted to make the point that if you cut it too close, you're not going to make that deadline as well. There's other steps that have to happen once the amendment is approved.
But you're not expecting any change in the numbers, so.
No.
So then you could easily have the documentation prepared ahead of time, I'm thinking. But, Mr. Jones?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. No number's going to change. September 11th, we got another council meeting. We got 14 days to get the job completed. Okay. I have no problems after that.
Mr. Cantrell?
One other comment. The guidelines were not set by this administration. It was set by a previous administration. So I just want to make that clear in the record.
Anything else? Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other engineers or architects? Okay. Can I get a motion to take a 10-minute break, moved by Otan, second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0, 10-minute break. Motion to return to regular agenda, moved by Bourgeois, second by Melvin. All in favor? I just got a motion from Bourgeois to return to regular agenda, second by Melvin. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We're returning to regular agenda, 9-0. Aye, public hearing and an ordinances for ratification. Can I get a motion to enter into public hearings? Moved by Perilou, second by Lafont. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Mr. Melvin.
I'm going to defer 14 until 9/11 as per the DA. Thank you.
Mr. Melvin is deferred. Item number 14 until the 9/11 meeting. Number 15, ordinance to accept the subdivision known as Pine Ridge Estates Phase C into the parish system, moved by Jones, second by Otan. Any discussion from the council? Being none, public one time, two times, three times. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 16, ordinance approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located at 301 East 116th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, assessment number 81022877700 for a minimum amount of $4,675, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Grow. Any discussion from the council? Any comment from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 17, ordinance approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located on Highway 316 in Gray, Louisiana, 70359, assessment number 81106873000 for a minimum amount of $4,675, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Otan. Any discussion from the council? Being none, public one time, two times, three times. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 18, ordinance approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located on East 71st Street, Cutoff, Louisiana, 70345, assessment number 810235750 for a minimum amount of $4,675, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lafont, second by Lorraine. Any discussion from the council? Being none, public one time, two times, three times. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 19, ordinance approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located on East 23rd Street, La Rose, Louisiana, 70373, assessment number 81024924001 for a minimum amount of $4,675, and authorizing the parish president to sign and execute and administer said cash sale and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lafont, second by Lorraine. Any discussion from the council? Being none, public one time, two times, three times. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 20, ordinance requiring all holders of a state-issued certificate of franchise authority to pay Lafourche Parish Government, PEGS, excess support in the amount of 0.5% of gross revenues, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Melvin and Councilman Grove. Second by Otan. Any discussion from the council? Councilman Lafont?
If somebody can give us a brief explanation of that, I appreciate it.
Councilman Grove?
Okay, I can give you a brief one, and we have Mrs. James here to. Okay. Basically, a little over a year ago, Councilman Melvin and I and Parish President Cantrell and Senator Chabert met with Nichols. In Talbot Hall, they made millions of dollars worth of investments and renovations. And the conversation started trying to get a PEG line to be able to broadcast things like we have here for free, is what kind of started everything. Am I correct? You want to come up? And we were trying to force Charter to finance this new fiber line. Found out we really couldn't force them, but there's a Senate Bill 807, which creates local government agencies and subdivisions. We can require any holders of a state-issued franchise fee authority. With council approval, they can pay up to 0.5% of...
May I speak?
I'm sorry. Say name and...
Sure.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Lance Arnold. My address is 2904 Danbury Drive in New Orleans, Louisiana. I work at Nichols State. I teach broadcast journalism. But
Excuse me a second, Mr. Lafont. Can you flip your mic off, please? Mr. Lafont.
So what it is, and I got emails in on this too, is that the parish is entitled to 0.5 of 1%, so half of 1% of the gross revenues, which from an email I just received, I think it's about just under $7,000 is what it would be to support a PEG channel. The issue with Nichols is we just put over $1 million into renovating our television studio. We were your PEG channel for years, but then these renovations went along, and for about a year and a half now, we've been off the air, so we haven't carried the parish council. We haven't carried anything. We haven't had a channel. When we came back on the air, I asked, well, we're ready to come back on the air. I asked Charter if we can have an HD channel. They said, no, you can't have an HD channel. I said, well, we just did we're not capable of not having an HD channel now. We're not broadcasting in standard definition, as nobody is anymore. And so Charter refused, and they said they can't do that. They said they don't have fiber run to us for one, but even if they did have fiber run to us, they just don't give it to PEG channels. So I think we were hoping is this would help get fiber run there. Charter said they're evaluating it, and they may allow PEG channels to have HD. I think they will, because they explained to us in the last meeting I had with the parish and Charter that HD is a new technology, to which we all know HD is not a new technology. 4K exists now. So we called them out on that. So we're hoping that Charter will change their policy, allow us to have HD, but in order to do that, we need a fiber line run to the building in Nichols. The state document that he was referring to does say what I need to provide on the PEG channel side is a usable signal for Charter. Charter is fully capable of receiving an HD signal. I can make the only signal available to them an HD signal. So it is still their responsibility to use that HD signal somehow. Then that's in the state documents that because I read through all that stuff. But the issue here is just asking for that 0.5%. The new Nichols channel, PEG channel, to which you were asking to explain that, we're going to carry the parish council meetings again. We've already done television programs with the Lafourche Sheriff's Office, the Thibodeau Sheriff's Office. We plan on doing high school sports, Nichols sports. We're going to have a 24-hour channel, which we've never had before because we didn't have the technology to do that. So we're really excited about how we can serve our part of the parish and Charter area with programming, news programming every day also. Because really there is no television station there except HTV, and
But that'll just be customers of Charter, right?
That'd just be customers of Charter, but that's not to preclude that we couldn't work with Vision to have Vision carry our channel also. We'll tackle one at a time. Because it is Nichols, and we already work with Vision to get the parish council meetings and things like that. We have a good relationship with Vision, but this is just the first.
But DirecTV and AT&T, that's...
That wouldn't, I mean, we can always request them to do that, but they have no reason to give us that.
Okay. Councilman Bourgeois?
Excuse my ignorance, but are you guys broadcasting over the airwaves with the digital antenna?
No, we were always just a cable channel from Nichols. We were channel 56 for a while. And if you have Charter cable and you go through your box, you'll see when it says Nichols, but there's nothing on it ever. It's because we've been off the air for a while. That was our designated channel. But what I'm asking for now is nobody watches SD. So even if they do give me an SD channel, nobody's going to watch it. Everybody watches HD. And that's the type of signal we're going to be providing.
And the reason I ask that is
Sure.
because actually in District 5, there's a lot of places where you either have DirecTV and a digital
sure.
channel, or you don't get anything. There's
Yeah.
no charter, there's no,
Yeah,
there's
we-
a lot of rural places as you go down the bayou on the west side of the parish, and there's a lot of us that are operating on antenna and in DirecTV. Nothing against DirecTV, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, it's Charter or Cox or whoever it is,
Yeah.
those aren't options for us.
Yeah, we will be streaming. I don't know if that's an option, but the problem with having an antenna is you have to have a transmitter, you have to have a tower, and you have to deal with the FCC. We don't have to deal with the FCC if we're on cable and if we're streaming. Not that we're doing anything that the FCC would object to. You just don't want to bring them in your house if you don't have to.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yes. My concern is that
Oh, sorry.
they want to charge you, right?
They want to charge us also, well, in the last meeting that we had with them, they said, this doesn't make sense, and this is just their representative, and he was checking into it, that they were not going to charge us monthly, because they wanted to charge us monthly to have to have a digital signal. But they wanted, yes, they want to charge us to run fiber.
The concern I have is if they charge you, whatever, what's going to happen? Vision doesn't charge the parish anything to run all those meetings. They don't charge the high schools anything to run the football games. So if they see that we paying here, E-Tel's going to want to charge also.
That's really a different, a different argument, a different animal that you're talking about.
I just think these cable companies are getting away with a lot of murder.
Yes, they're charging you to make
Tell me
money.
about it.
They're charging you to make money off of the parish. And they're charging you because you're entitled to 3 PEG channels. And the only one you've ever had is the one that we run.
Yeah, I know.
And for that 1 PEG channel, they want to charge us to run the fiber there, and then they want to charge us monthly, but I think we took care of that one. They're not going to charge us monthly for that.
I'd like to see the people up north and get whatever they need to get,
Sure.
football games, council meeting, whatever. Down the bay, we ain't got no problem.
Yeah.
They're not.
But it's not HD.
No.
That's what we're saying, that our studio.
But both of those contracts are up. It's time that this administration put something together and bring it to this council.
Yeah, I've read the contract. I knew
Past
that
time.
they were
They
up
both
also.
expired.
Sure.
Madam Chairman?
Councilman Lafont?
So just a couple questions, and I know I'm going to get asked by people in the public, so I wrote down, so are you capable right now to broadcast without, if they wouldn't, no HD, can you broadcast without HD?
Not without buying an expensive piece of equipment to downgrade my signal from HD to SD. I cannot produce programming in standard definition.
Okay. Next question. What does PEG stand for?
Public educational government.
Okay.
So that's really the goal of the station, is to provide program to the public, educational programming, and of course the government having y'all's meetings, and we used to carry the legislature also.
Next question. Who does the half cents go to?
The half cent is put forth to provide construction and cost for that for the PEG station.
So what would be the cost?
Well, they want to charge, I don't have it because I wasn't actually supposed to be here today, and I got asked last minute, but I have all the paperwork. But if I recall, they wanted, I think it was about $30,000 to run the fiber to my station.
So out the 107,000, it would cost us about 30,000?
Well, no, all the parish is entitled to is about 7,000 because it's 1/2 of 1% of their gross, which is about $7,000 a year.
Oh, I thought you said 107,000.
No, it's just 7,000.
7,000. I was thinking
Yeah.
to say 100,000. We got some money working here.
No, but the thing is that Charter has worked with other schools. And as a matter of fact, they spent a few $100,000 at Southeastern to build their facilities. They don't need to build our facilities. I just want a wire, because we've already got over $1 million, and our facilities are done, ready to just be plugged into and start broadcasting. So, honestly, I don't know why Charter's resisting when they've given Southeastern so much.
Okay, so then
I graduated from Southeastern, so I'm not faulting that.
my next question is this. It says to state issue certificates of franchise authority to pay Lafourche Parish government PEG. So that would include Vision Communication, or they would have to pay the fee too?
If you request the fee from Vision, and You have to request the fee.
This is requesting from all
Oh, okay.
franchises.
Yeah, yes, then, yes, it'd be Vision or any cable provider in the parish. You're requesting for that 1/2 of 1%.
All right. So I'm just trying to figure out what we do with the 7,000 or whatever thousand comes from that area, you know?
Well, it has to be, according to the paperwork from the state, it has to be designated towards the construction or maintenance of a PEG channel.
I got you. So maybe we can get Vision, we could spend it on Vision, getting a PEG channel so we can watch it on HD down the bottom. Not that it matters, because when I'm watching a parish government meeting, it doesn't matter, and I got DirecTV.
I knew if I was on
wouldn't care
parish
if I'm
government,
watching
I don't
in
want my
HD or
face in
not.
HD.
So, I'm just trying to figure out what's the benefits and are we giving businesses associated costs that we can run out of business out the parish? That's what just got to weigh out.
Mr. Grow.
The Senate bill just allows us to ask for that money back. You don't have to, it's just, there is some, you can ask for up to 0.5%. When they remodeled, everything went to HD, and I guess in Charter's mind, look, we're giving you a signal, we're doing everything we're supposed to for a PEG channel, but they can't receive or reciprocate with it. That's the only issue. So we tried to get them to pay for it, they couldn't do it, they found this, I said, well, look, you could pay for it this way by us paying something off the royalties. And that's as simple as that. It's free money that could be out there that'll help fund it. We tried to run around it all different kind of ways. They gave it to Southeastern, they didn't, not giving it to us, but the point is they have a beautiful studio that's all HD, which will soon probably be old equipment anyway. If we don't hurry up and get it done, they'll be able to do ESPN events. I mean, a bunch of different things they'll be able to feed, and they just can't do it now because they don't have the bridge.
And to be clear, no, Southeastern doesn't have an HD channel. They don't have one either, but they paid for Southeastern studio in the PEG channel hundreds of thousands of dollars, where we didn't ask for any of that. All we're asking for is a fiber wire.
Okay, anything, Councilman Bourgeois.
I'm just going to ask again, because I'm trying to get
Sure.
I don't know anything about charter. Do you know how much of the parish charter covers versus Vision? I mean, Mr. Lafont brought up Vision, who the other ones are. I mean, like I said, I don't know, because most of the people I represent have nothing, and it's DirecTV. And that's why I'm just trying to get my head around it, because, I mean, no offense, I support your program and I understand that, but also I feel as though we may be shaking down a business because they made a business decision that maybe we're using the law to kind of shake them down. And I'm just trying to get clarity on it.
Sure. Well, I'm not sure of the question, but as far as shaking them down, it's already been in their contract for years and years, and other parishes
I'm saying how much
do
of
that.
the parish does
I
charter?
I honestly don't know the breakdown or the geographically or people-wise, who has charter, who has Vision, who has nothing. But all over the state, every single parish has this 0.5 of 1%, and it's $7,000 from charter, so I don't think it's going to break them. And this was the workaround we were thinking. They didn't want to pay for it. Nichols really didn't want to pay for it. But if we had this money, this is sort of like a way to meet each other in the middle, because they're obligated to give this money. So we just use that towards it. So there was sort of a workaround that we're trying to come up with, but you guys have to ask for that money. Like, charter can't just give you the money. So I guess that's what this is right here, is you guys saying, okay, we're asking for the money, because otherwise they won't give it.
And I understand that, but like where I live, they won't put a fiber optic because they can't get their money back. And I mean, you got to understand, it's kind of a.
But they're and this is a side thing. They want to run fiber onto Nichols campus so they can get internet to all the students on Nichols campus. They want to charge Nichols itself $20,000 to run that fiber there, even though they will get their money back. You know, given the population of Nichols campus and the bandwidth and the way that students and classrooms all use the internet. So it's not charter going, oh, crying poor. It's charter saying, we're not going to spend this money unless you tell us to, because they're going to make their money back when they run fiber to campus for that. So in honesty, I'm not asking for entire Nichols campus to be wired with fiber, but if they run that fiber to me, it'll be available to the entire campus, and it'll save Nichols money on that end too. But that has nothing to do with my project. I just found out about that part.
Okay, anything else from the council? Anything else from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 8-0, with Bourgeois being 8-1, I'm sorry. 8-1, with Bourgeois being the nay.
Thank you for your
Thank you so
time.
much for coming. Number 21, ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-020 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to increase the Head Start budget for the purpose of the cost of living adjustment COLA award for grant year 2018, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, moved by Councilman Melvin, second by Paraloo. Any discussion from the council? Anything from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 22, ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Sergian Joseph Truxilla Jr. and the Lafourche Parish Council, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. It's moved by Councilman Bourgeois and Melvin, second by Lafont. Any discussion from the council? Any comment from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Can I get a motion to close public hearing? Moved by Paraloo, second by Melvin. All in favor? Hello, good morning. All in favor? Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. Passes 9-0. Mr. Otan.
J, proposed ordinance, item number 23, proposed ordinance to amend ordinance number 5993 as it pertains to no parking on both sides of West 212th Street, hereby deleting both sides of and replacing it with the shoulders. Thus, the new verbiage shall read, no parking on both sides of being scratched out, and the shoulders on West 212th Street, Galiano, Louisiana, Ward 10, District 9, Parish of Lafourche, State, Louisiana, installing the necessary no parking on the shoulder signs and providing penalties for the violation thereof, proposed by Councilman Lorraine. Item 24, proposed ordinance establishing a 15 miles per hour speed limit on Loop Road, Des Allemands, Louisiana, Ward 7, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State, Louisiana, providing for the placement of speed limit and speed check by radar signs and providing for penalties for the violations thereof by Councilwoman Esposito. Item 25, proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 6019 that amended ordinance number 5991, which adopted the 2018 operations and capital budget for Lafourche Parish Council, as well as setting the salaries of unclassified employees as provided for by Article 5 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter by Councilman Melvin for the administration. Item 26, proposed ordinance amending ordinance number 5830 and amending and reenacting Chapter 22 of Lafourche Parish Code Ordinances as it pertains to land development, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents by Councilwoman Esposito for the administration. Item 27, proposed ordinance approving a lease agreement between Fire Protection District Number 1, the owner lesser, and the Parish of Lafourche for leasing the premises located at 4062 Highway 90 East, Des Allemands, Louisiana 70030, for use as a polling place for Ward 7, Precinct 3 of Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents by Councilwoman Esposito for the administration. Item 28, proposed ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 2, Sections 2-36 of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances to change the polling location for Ward 7, Precinct 3, Vivian Commerdale residence to Fire Protection District Number 1, to further establish the effective date of same, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents by Councilwoman Esposito for the administration. Item 29, proposed ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Glenn G. Raymond and the Lafourche Parish Council, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement by Councilman Lafont for the administration. Item 30, proposed ordinance approving a non-warranty cash sale agreement for property adjudicated to Lafourche Parish government located at 124 East 125th Street, Galiano, Louisiana 70354, assessment number 81022747700, for a minimum amount of $4,675, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said cash sale and any and all relevant documents by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. Item 31, proposed ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-021 within the 2018 operations and maintenance budget to move the duplicate funding of $1 million from the Solid Waste Fund 107 back to the BP All Spill Fund 801, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter by Councilman Lorraine for the administration. And that concludes proposed ordinances.
Thank you, Councilman Otan. Okay, resolutions, number 32.
Chairwoman, I'd like to defer item 32 till September the 11th.
Item number 32, being deferred to September 11th meeting. Number 33, resolution accepting the low quote of alternative turf specialist in the amount of $68,000.
I'm sorry, Lucy, I'm going to pull that one. This is where we had the special meeting last week.
Okay,
And I do want to thank the council because their work is going right now as we speak.
okay. So item number 33 is being pulled. Number 34, resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render a legal opinion as to whether the Community Action Advisory Board, the Head Start Policy Council, and the Library Board of Control should follow Attorney General's Opinion 18-0093, or should they follow their own bylaws as it pertains to all unclassified employees. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 35, resolution requesting the Louisiana Attorney General to render an opinion as to whether the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter supersedes the Louisiana State Statute. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Bourgeois. Any discussion from the council? Being none, all in favor? Y'all weak tonight. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 36, resolution approving change order number 1 for Dupree Brothers Construction Company Incorporated for the project entitled Terrio Boat Launch Bulkhead Improvements to increase the contract price by $460, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by Councilman Otis, second by Councilman Lorraine. Any discussion? I just want to say that project looks great. Glad to see it all done. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 37, resolution accepting the low quote of American Disposer LLC in the amount of $4,195 for contractor services related to nuisance abatement ordinance number 3895 concerning the demolition of a condemned structure located at 178 West 177th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, assessment number 0101963600 within Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 38, resolution accepting the low quote of Byron E. Talbot in the amount of $10,000 for contractor services related to nuisance abatement number 3895 concerning the demolition of a condemned structure located at 17026 West Main Street, Galliano, Louisiana, 70354, assessment number 0101868300 within Lafourche Parish, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 39, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish government and the Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 40, resolution appointing one member to Lafourche Parish Tourist Commission. Councilman Paraloo, who do you have?
Yes, I would like to nominate Danelle Zarang.
Danelle Zarang. Can I get a second? Second by Councilman Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Congratulations, Ms. Zarang. Thank you for serving. Number 41, resolution appointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 2 Board. Moved by Councilman Paraloo. Who you have, Mr. Paraloo?
I'd like to appoint Mr. Bruce Dufresne.
Mr. Bruce Dufresne, can I get a second? Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Congratulations. Number 42, resolution. Sir?
I would like to defer item number 42. The plan is to nominate Mr. Nick Guidry, but since he works for DPW, we're going to go and get an opinion to make sure that it's within his, within the legal framework for him to be on the board.
Okay, and you're checking with ethics, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to try for 9/11 meeting, or?
Yes, 9/11. I think that's enough time.
Put your mic on, Mr. Perry.
Nick, did they give you an expected turnaround on the opinion? Okay, 9/11.
Okay, so item number 42 is deferred to council meeting on 9/11. Mr. Lafont.
Just for the record, I know it's already pulled, deferred or whatever, but we have two guys that work for the parish serving on the drainage boards that actually spend money, and they were allowed by the state, so I think this will be allowed. I don't see any challenge with it.
Okay, it's always good to get an ethics opinion when somebody's not sure, though, so. All right. Number 43, resolution appointed one member on the South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority Board. Mr. Melvin, can you move for me?
Yes, I'll move for Ms. Posey too. I'll nominate Brian Zarang.
Brian Zarang. Can I get a second? Second by Councilman Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Gosh, 9-0 passes. Congratulations, Mr. Zarang. Just one more thing for you to do for us. Number 44, resolution appointing one member to the Lafourche Parish Tourist Commission. Mr. Melvin, can you move for me?
Yes, Joshua Falgu.
Can I get a second on Joshua Falgu? Second by Councilman Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, Josh. Thank you for serving. Number 45, resolution, that passes 9-0. 45, resolution appointing one member on the Fire Protection District Number 3 Board, moved by Councilman Lorraine. Who do you have, Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, I'd like to appoint Morris Guidry, but I'd like to say something before. Mr. Andy Galliana served on the Fire District Board years ago, and he had moved to Grand Isle for about 20, 25 years. He's back. He would really be an asset on that board. But and he called me, but since Mr. Guidry serves on the board and he doesn't miss the meetings, I would like to just replace Mr. Guidry, but I'd like to also encourage Mr. Galliana to leave his name, because once somebody's gonna step down, it would be over. But then on another note, you need to put two people from the town of Golometa. It's a state law. So one would be Reggie Pete, the chief, and this one would be Mr. Guidry. And the other two are at large. And the four picks the chairman. But anyway, I like Mr. Galliana, but really by law, I got to go with the Golometa one. And I'm going to nominate Morris Guidry.
Second by Councilman Perilou. When someone submits an application, Mr. Lasang or Mr. Cantrell, how long does it stay on file for if there's another 1 year? 1 year, okay. So
I think it's a year.
All right. All right, Mr. Morris Guidry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Mr. Lorraine, do you have something else?
Oh, no.
Number 46, resolution appointing one member of the Fire Protection District Number 9 Board, moved by Councilman Otan. Who do you have, Nooney? Oh, who do you have, Mr. Perilou?
Yeah, I'd like to
Well,
nominate
this is going to be now moved by Councilman Perilou.
Spence Grissoni.
Who's Spence Cresoni? Spence Cresoni, can I get a second? Second by Councilman Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Mr. Perilou, you had something else? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 47, resolution amending resolution number 18-145, which appointed Christine Strickland to the Lafourche Parish Tourist Commission to correct the ending term date, moved by Councilman Melvin, second by Councilman Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 48, resolution amended resolution number 18-151, which appointed Greg Gobert to the Lafourche Parish Tourist Commission to correct the ending term date, moved by Councilman Melvin, second by Councilman Perilou. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 49, resolution supporting the submittal of a grant application for fiscal year 2018-2019 funding through the State of Louisiana Office of Community Development Local Government Assistance Program to purchase materials to renovate parish buildings, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Gross, second by Perilou. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 50, resolution supporting a request to United States federal government in granting a New Start designation and appropriating construction funding for the Morganza to the Gulf Hurricane Risk Reduction Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Lorraine, second by Parallel. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 51, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the grant between the Louisiana Workforce Commission, LWC, and Lafourche Parish Council, local grant recipient, with the fiscal agent being LAT Workforce Investment Board, Inc., for a program year beginning April 1st, 2017, and ending June 30th, 2019, to receive funding from the Louisiana Workforce Commission to provide services to youth, adult, and dislocated workers in the region, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Otan. Any discussion? Mr.
Mr.
Jones.
Chairwoman, I'm going to abstain from this, sir, just for one reason. It did not go to the advisory board.
Okay, you're going to abstain. All right, Mr. Lorraine.
Well, first of all, I want to say that, believe it or not, I'm going to agree with Jones. We have an advisory board, and it should go to the advisory board. If you look tonight, we have some stuff on here for the library. Went to the board, it's coming here. Anything that them boards do basically comes back over here. And you can't just remove the whole board. You have one person on that board that's elected, not appointed by the council, the parish president. He's elected, actually an election. So what you gonna just yank? And by the way, this money, this is the one going to Terrebonne, Jones?
Yes, Mr. Lewis, his workforce is here.
Because Lafourche has been the guinea pig for many years. The money has to come through this council, and most of it is spent in other parishes. We get very little. I think that they need to go get their own, and we need to quit being the guinea pig. Yes, that's how it works. And they administer it. We get, what do we get out of there? How much money we get out of there?
Maybe Mr. Lewis can answer.
How much money does Lafourche get out of that?
Sir, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Frank Lewis, 118 Presque Isle, Houma, Louisiana. The statement that was just made about the funds goes to Terrebonne Parish, that's not true. It's not correct. The funds go through Lafourche, Assumption, and Terrebonne Parish. The LAT Workforce Board is represented with Lafourche, Assumption, and Terrebonne Parish members. All funds are given to individuals that are eligible in all three parishes, not just Terrebonne.
Okay, that's fine. Give us an itemized figure of what Lafourche gets, what Assumption gets, and what Terrebonne gets.
I don't have that right in front of me, sir, but each year is based on unemployment.
Terrebonne gets the bulk of it, and you know that. You might not want to say
It doesn't
that,
happen every year, sir.
but you know that.
No, it doesn't happen.
Same thing with weatherization. We lost that to Morgan City. We get almost zip. I don't want to confuse them, but that's what we get out of this one and the other one.
No, in this case, that's not correct. It all depends on a formula, and the state gives the money out. And whatever parish, but dealing with unemployment, whatever the formula works out to, that's the parish that get the most of the money. And if Terrebonne get the most this year, it doesn't matter. It's who eligible for the program that receive the funds.
So you familiar with community action? I'm sure you are, huh?
Yes.
Shouldn't it have gone to the advisory board?
That's out of my, yeah. I don't have anything to do with that. I have nothing to do with that.
I think you're mistaken.
Mr. Cantrell, you have something?
Yes. Those items has nothing to do with community action, does not have to go to community action board. That doesn't go to community action, and that is an item that y'all vote on, that the board has no say-so at all on.
Councilman Otan?
Yeah, so I'm going to respect if there's abstentions on this, and I fully understand why. and I do agree that I wish the board was involved in this. However, I'm not gonna be a speed bump to stop this program, and I don't think any of us should. I mean, whether it's Terrebonne, Lafourche, I agree that I think it is lopsided. I'm convinced that it is lopsided on where the money goes. But still, if there's people in need, I don't want to be that speed bump, and I'm gonna go on the record as saying I'm not gonna be that speed bump.
Councilman Jones.
Yes, for the last 24 years, I've been on the council, and every year, and Mr. Lewis, you've been there a long time, and the procedures has never been like this year. We always went through the advisory board, as we spoke in the back. The advisory board approves it, send it to the council, looks at it, inform us, and we vote on it. This is the first year that we want to take the advisory board out of the loop. And I know you have nothing to do with it.
Thank you, sir.
Nothing to do with it. It's the administration. But we need the advisory board, because we vote and give you this money tonight. Surely, we got a section, not one member, that is a section of that board is elected by the people, the actual election. 1/3 of that board. And if that board does not participate in our funds, you know what we get? 0. So again, I disagree with the administration that we needed to go to the advisory board with it, but I understand where you're coming from, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and that's why I'm abstaining from voting.
Councilman Paraloo.
Mr. Lewis, this is on a totally separate track. I'm just wondering, are you the same Frank Lewis that was a wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills?
Yes, sir.
You are, all right. I thought that was you. Thank you.
Mr. Lasang.
We checked with the DA's office before putting this on. Was running late, and the board wasn't meeting, and it was getting held up. Mr. Lewis came to the office, brought everything there. We checked with the DA's office, and they said to put these items on the agenda. So it's been vetted, let's put it like that.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, I don't want to hurt anybody, but I'm going to vote nay because the procedures were not followed.
I just want to say the advisory board wanted to meet. The administration said they didn't need the advisory board. So that's why the advisory board didn't meet.
Okay, the only thing I want to add is
Ms. Posito,
Mr. Cantrell, go ahead.
you know, untruth is untruth. We've been trying to get the advisory board. Ms. Stacy has also have met with them and tried to get them to meet, and for some reason, they don't want to meet. But they have to meet pretty soon, because if they don't meet, consequences will be forthcoming. And these two items does not have to go in front of the advisory board. I'm going to say it one more time to make it very clear. It does not have to go in front of the advisory board. The DA ruled on it, so it's up to y'all.
The only thing I want, Mr.
I
Jones?
hadn't seen anything in writing from the district attorney office.
Okay, the only thing I want to add is, sorry for you guys, I know this has been hard for you all to sort of be caught in the middle of all of this. What we're dealing with is, it's been done, as Mr. Jones says, for all of these years. And then this year, with everything that happened with the Community Action Board and everything being turned upside down, and then the DA talked to Workforce Commission, and it's my understanding that she did get the ruling, the opinion that it didn't, these particular funds didn't have to go through the board, and that was what was told to me. So, I mean, Jones and Daniel are right in that, you know, they've been, especially being the veterans on the council, they've been doing it this way for so long, and now all of a sudden it's changed. So I understand where all of this confusion came in, but as of this week, the DA told me that it wasn't funds that should go before, that had to go before the advisory board. And I've had a strict policy of always going with the DA. They're our only legal counsel, and so I'm going to vote for it to move through. I don't want to create any collateral damage with these people that are waiting on these funds. So, any further discussion? Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, I just want to say, when Cantrell took over as parish president, we had a meeting in that conference room right there. You were there? I was there, and I can't remember how many others were there. Jones was there, I think Tommy might have been there, Jimmy was there. And the issue came up with community action. The people from the state were here. And they said it was the council. In fact, Jimmy threw his hands up in the air and says, y'all do what y'all gotta do. I don't have no control. Charlotte tried to do the same thing and she backed up. But that's why you got an advisory board. I'm telling you, you go ahead and do this so he can sign it. He can sign it if he wants. I don't care. Without that advisory board, it's going to come back to bite you. Remember that.
Anything else? Anyone else? All right.
Yeah, I got some.
Mr. Perilou.
What, is this, I mean, is there a time sensitivity on this thing that we can't defer it till the next meeting to make sure that we're within our legal rights to do it without the advisory board? Or is that a deal breaker?
I think it's been on the wire for a while.
Already.
Okay, so why is it now just coming up? Well,
It was deferred.
we've been discussing the advisory board or lack of.
Yes.
All right, I say bring it to a vote then.
Okay, any further discussion? Last words?
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody understand that the money is not spent on one parish. It's whoever's in need and that we can serve and help them. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Lafont?
I just want to, man, thank you for a great career and what you brought to athletes. I know it's off the base, but I lived in Terrebonne Parish, and you're a legend in football. I believe you won 2 Super Bowls as a starter, and man, that's awesome. And thank you for representing this area. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Frank, one question.
Mr. Jones?
Can we get an annual report from you?
Okay, when would you need it?
I mean, anytime during the year.
Okay. I guess.
When is
after-
your physical year?
I guess after the audit and everything's done, it'd be a more appropriate time?
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. That's it.
That's it, sir.
Thank you.
The only thing, before we move to a vote, the only thing I'd like to add is I would like to hope that the administration abides by all of the DA opinions from this point forward, not just the ones that you agree with. Okay, let's move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that passes 7 yeas, 1 nay, and 1 abstention. 7 yeas, 1 nay.
0 absent and 1 abstention.
0 absent and 1 abstention. Have to say absent now? Okay, with Councilman Jones being the abstention and Councilman Lorraine being the nay. Item passes. Number 52, resolution of approving a grant agreement between Louisiana Workforce Commission, LWC, and the Lafourche Parish Government, subrecipient with the fiscal agent being LAT Workforce Investment Board, Inc., for the program year beginning April 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2020, to receive funding from the Louisiana Workforce Commission to provide services to the youth, adult, and dislocated workers in the region, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Oten. Any discussion? Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. 7, 1, I say 0, 1? Sarah 1, 0, 0, 1. You add in another number to me, Miss Carleen. I don't. 7 yeas, 1 nay being Councilman Lorraine, 0 absent, and 1 abstention being Councilman Jones. Right? We good? All right, number 53. Resolution accepting the bids of metal culverts for the time period of September 1st, 2018 through August 31st, 2019, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Perilou, second by Oten. Any discussion? Councilman Perilou?
Yeah, we have an amendment from the floor on this item. One of the vendors had to withdraw due to a mathematical error. So I think everyone has a copy of this, and there's a spreadsheet that shows you that the vendor Kedco has been stricken from the record. And that's the
Amendment.
Okay, I need to get a vote. Oh, Mr. Grow, you have something?
I just need to abstain on this one.
Okay. A vote on the amendment. Right. Motion by Corey, second by Daniel. Any discussion on the, oh, no. Yeah. Any discussion on, further discussion on the amendment? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1 with Councilman Grow being the abstention. 0 absences. Okay. Now, the item as amended. Any discussion on the item as amended? All in favor? Aye. You had something? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Bo, did you just say? Okay. Item passes 7-0-2 with Councilman Grow and Melvin abstaining. That's good. All right. Number 54, resolution accepting the bids of plastic culverts for the time period of September 1st, 2018 through August 31st, 2019, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Perilou, second by Councilman Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9. Pace, you're abstaining too, Bo? Passes 7-0-2 with Councilman Grow and Councilman Melvin abstaining. You got that?
What item is it?
That was 54.
Okay.
Number 55. Resolution rescinding Resolution Number 18158 that approved an intergovernmental agreement between the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, Sheriff, and the Lafourche Parish Government Parish to provide for and maintain security at the Lafourche Parish Council meetings and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by Councilman Perilou, second by Grow. Any discussion? The only thing I want to add to this is it's being rescinded because it was brought before council prematurely. The sheriff hadn't agreed to all of the terms and conditions. And so now we're reviewing, the parish president is reviewing another agreement. And hopefully we'll have security in here very soon. Okay, you ready to vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 56, resolution approving agreement between Weimer Grove Flores LLC and Lafourche Parish Government Parish for architect design services for the Raceland Gaines and LaRose Library re-roofing and minor renovation project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Councilman Perilou. Any discussion? Library. Mr. Lorraine, put on your light. Your mic.
Yeah, on this, I was always under the impression that the planners was gonna get this. The meetings that I went to, for some reason, now it's, what's, Weimer?
Mr. Cantrell?
I just don't
Mr.
understand what's going on because some of these plans were drawn and I don't know.
Mr.
I was
Lasang?
always under the impression it was the plan, but I think I know what happened. Some people met. I gotta watch what I'm gonna say. And these 3 little projects are kind of small. So we're not gonna take that. We're gonna go for the big one because they want a big one coming in Thibodeau. And I don't know what the board's gonna do, but I don't think they're gonna go with that $4 or $5 million. They might go with $1 million, $1.5 million, because a lot of money was spent over there already. And so we're gonna give Weimer the 3 little jobs, which should have been given to the planners. And now all of a sudden, he's gonna get it, and I guess the big one's gonna go to the planners. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Lasang? Okay, and Mr. Daniel, I thought these were going to, Holloway, Skipper's firm.
I don't
So
know, the whole thing got screwed up once they start having meetings behind closed doors.
Okay. Any
That's all
further
I can say.
discussion? Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I'd like to ask, did this go to the library board, advisory board to review?
As far as I know,
So they were
Did?
okay with it?
yeah.
Oh, that's a procedure?
I thought you'd get out of here without getting to talk, so,
Laura Sanders, 212 Belmead Boulevard in Thibodeau. This did go to the library board to vote on whether they wanted to do the projects or not. We had preliminary scope of work done to find out exactly what it would entail and how much, which is what the board requested before they voted. They wanted to know exactly what it was going to cost. At that point, we sent it to administration, where it is my understanding that it is Mr. Cantrell's job and responsibility to choose the architectural firms, and that's where we are here.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, there was a decision made by the library board, but the one that's gonna say what engineer is gonna be hired is the parish president.
That's my
And
understanding.
y'all were leaning toward the planners, okay?
Yes, sir.
Then the planners' name came up, Holloway, Skipper Holloway came up.
Yes, sir.
And so did Weimer.
Yes, sir.
All of a
That's correct.
sudden, we got Weimer, and the planners is waiting to hit the home run for the big one.
From what I understand, and I was not in all of the meetings, but from what I understand, Mr. Cantrell felt that it should be split, that no one firm should get all of it. So I was in the meeting where we sat down and we split it. The next day, Duplantis Design Group came to my office and said that they were not comfortable with splitting it three ways. They were going to back out.
Well, let me just say this. They're gonna back out because if I'm gonna get a $600,000 job and I can get a $4 million job, which one do you think I'm gonna get?
I can tell you.
I mean, my eyes are not closed.
I understand, and I understand what you're saying. I can tell you that the library board has not voted on a Thibodeau project, and I was very clear with the Duplantis Design Group that it had not been voted on yet. And I could not at any point guarantee what my board is going to do, because it hasn't been voted on. It comes up for a vote the end of September.
But the meeting that you went to, you
Yes,
had
sir.
three?
I had three, there were three, it
You were
was
told
split three
and the
ways.
very next day it was changed. I wonder why.
Mr. Jones?
But the advisory board did participate.
Yes,
The procedures was go to the advisory board, to the administration, to the council.
yes, that is the correct thing. The advisory board cannot, nor can I, enter into any contract.
Right.
That is your purview. So yes, the advisory board voted that they wanted to proceed, and then we took it to administration to bring to all of you.
So that's the procedures.
Yes, that's
I
correct.
wonder why the procedures work for some boards and not the others.
Mr. Melvin?
Hi, Ms. Law, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, I was wanting to make sure, engineering firms are chosen by the parish president, of course, that we all know that, but they can choose to participate in projects they want to be in, correct? They're not, I mean, they can choose which ones they'd rather be in, and if they prefer, correct?
I'm lost
Well, in other
on-
words, if the parish president is choosing what engineering firms, which is fine, that's the way it's been done.
Right.
Some of these firms can choose which ones they'd rather participate in or not. Is that fair to say?
I would believe that's fair to
Okay.
say. I mean, Duplantis told me to my face.
Well, no matter who it is, I'm just
that-
saying.
Right, that they
whoever they want can
didn't, they
choose.
weren't comfortable with breaking it up, and they were backing out.
So in other words, nothing wrong with that. I mean, no matter who it is, Timbuktu, right?
It doesn't matter to the library board who does the work, we just want the work done.
I
But
understand.
yes,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, let's bring to a vote.
Question.
Oh,
What are y'all planning on spending $4 million on?
$4 million. We're looking at a project at Thibodeau. I don't know that it's $4 million, but we are
What
looking.
project are y'all looking at doing?
What we're looking at doing is adding on to the current Thibodeau building and adding a one-story or two-story elevated building above the staff parking. We are short in square footage there. We've run out of room, and we need more space. We didn't want to, the library board voted, and I agreed with this, we didn't want to scrap the existing building because we've already spent so much money and time in renovations, we felt that that was inappropriate. So we are trying to find a way to add space to Thibodeau to meet our customers' needs while still keeping the current building that we have. So on the table for the next meeting at the Library Board of Control will be two options. It will be a one-story or second option, a two-story addition to the current building.
Okay. Any further discussion? Being none. Mr. Lorraine, you had your
Yeah, I just wanted to say, why was Lockport Library left out? That's the one that needs the most attention.
Lockport Library was not left out. We don't have anything on the table right now. What we did was a needs assessment, and the library board decided to take things in chunks, and they felt that all of these re-roofing things needed to come first. Then they wanted to tackle Thibodeau, and then we were going to tackle Lockport.
The only thing that, you're gonna tackle Lockport, but depending on what kind of money you got left, because you're looking at a large, substantial amount of money here. One thing I'm gonna ask you or tell you is that make sure, whatever you do, that these satellite libraries don't get shut down if a crunch hits.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Thank you, Laura, for that explanation. Number 57, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Paraluz, second by Grow. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. L, parish president, department heads, directors, or manager reports, presentation, and/or updates. Anything, Mr. President? Okay.
No.
M, questions for the administration. I sent mine earlier. And, okay, Mr. Otan?
Yeah, I just want to confirm with Mr. James Bournes. So the road sales tax District 2 projects are ongoing. So residents can expect to see a lot of paintings on the streets of gas lines, water lines. And I just want the people that maybe, are viewing this to understand that that's what they're seeing going on up and down their streets, correct?
That's correct.
Second thing I have is just the question I've been asking for several years, since the engineers don't come here anymore. Our phase 2/phase 3 on the flood wall, any updates on where we stand on that?
I sent Neil another email the other day telling him that he needed to get the plans and the specifications to Adam to turn into the state. The state's gonna do a minor review, and then it'll be ready to go out for bid. He didn't give me no timeline to get them to him. That's what I'm telling you. And I'm steady pushing on him. I want it done. It's 2.5 years we fooling with this.
Thank you, because that's a new revelation. I think in May, he said you'd have the plans in a couple of weeks. They sent you the email. I saw the email.
Yeah.
So, is there any way to pull this from that engineering firm and go to another, or is that's?
I will look into that for you.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, Mr. Cantrell, on community action, they were open on Friday till 1 o'clock to get all that stuff ready for Monday. Now, all of a sudden, since it's a new operation or a new takeover, they're closed. Why are they closed?
Mr. Cantrell?
Miss Stacy decided that that's how she wanted to run it. She's running it. I'm not interfering with her, and I'm taking her judgment. It's a proper judgment. That's why we hired somebody to run it.
So she wants to close Monday and Tuesday, she's gonna close?
No.
Well, you just said that.
No.
She does what she wants.
Come on, Daniel, now you know better than that.
Well, that's what's going on with the whole parish, Jimmy. Everybody's just doing, we have no leadership.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lorraine, I really appreciate that.
Right.
The only leadership we don't have is from this council.
Shit.
And,
You
well,
better go
fired
talk
all
to the
leaders.
people.
You fired everybody, you fired
You
my...
better go talk to the people.
Okay, let's get back on task. Mr. Lafont.
Mr. Cantrell, I thought it was a great project at the time, and I still think it's needed. And Mr. Bourgeois, it's in your district. The water park there, I know we had some discussion about the water and amount. I asked Mr. Bagala to look into the water bill just because it was mentioned at a council meeting. And so if we could check into it and see where we can conserve, I'm not saying shut it down or anything like that, but I think we need to look into it because on their water bill for 6/20/18 came out to $57. The following month, which was the 7th month on 18, the water bill went to $4,578.47. Then a month later, that doubled again. On 8/2018, they were billed for $8,478.46 on a water bill. So if we could look into that and see, I don't think at that rate we can continue to keep running water like that. In 2 months, you're looking at over $13,000 between the two.
Mr. Cantrell?
That was a concern of mine too, so I'm getting some information on it. I think we're gonna see a difference with the information. I think there were some valves that were remaining open and the water was just circulating, going out. So that was corrected. I believe they cleaned it, and I'm not exactly positive, but that's what I'm hearing. So
Okay,
we'll
yeah, I
see.
just want to make you aware of it. I noticed.
I was very aware of, Jerry. Thank you very much.
Okay, appreciate it, thank you.
Mr. Melvin?
Hey, Mr. James, I just want to reiterate for the meeting that, or maybe have you answer a question. I know there was some concerns from sewer district number 1, just about some lines, and has that been, those questions been answered from the engineers and all that, about the, they had some concerns. I just came on to my, email to Dave, and I just wanted to make sure those concerns were addressed.
Yes, they have been addressed, and actually Jack had put together some answers, but I see that he's done left.
He mentioned something to me, I just wanted to make sure we're good.
Yes, they have been covered by the engineer, and they've already met with the sewer, the people in your district.
Thank you.
Your club.
Councilman Jones?
Yes, thank you. You're supposed to. Mr. Cantrell, the advisory board highly recommend that the community action office be open on a half a day on a Friday. We had problems the last couple of years, this last year and a half. With them working on Friday, the problem has been corrected. So, Head Start work a half a day, Council of Aging works a half a day. Why can't the advisory board recommend that the community action agency be open a half a day?
Mr. Cantrell?
Okay, I'm gonna take that into consideration, Jerry, and I'm gonna look into it further. I don't know if it'll be closed every Friday. She said she had no work for them to do this Friday, and I thought they was closing, so.
Well, the purpose was the Friday, they do all the work. In the past, they had paper stacked up on the Monday, they didn't have
Okay.
work completed next week.
I will
On
look at-
Friday, they were supposed to do the paperwork, and if they didn't have anything, go do outreach work.
Well, that's where the problem came in. Okay, I'll look into it, and if that's what the advisory board wants to do, we'll consider that very seriously, and I'll get with Ms. Stacy and see what's her reason, give me exact reason. I'll maybe get her to come here next meeting and let her explain it to you.
Okay. Another question. Do you hold all your employees to the highest standard for the public?
I try to hold everybody to a high standard.
Okay.
Try to hold this council to a high standard,
All right.
and I don't think I've been getting that, so.
Okay. About an hour ago, Mr. Tommy called Mr. Benoit out of his name. Did you reprimand him for that in the public?
I'm not going to answer that, Mr. Jones.
So no comment, Mr. Cantrell?
No, no comment at all.
Okay.
I have
Any other questions?
I do have a comment.
Mr.
First of
Cantrell?
all, I want to thank you, Ms. Lucy, for submitting your questions in advance. I think we handled them very rapid for you. I want to thank you for doing that, because it gave me time to research some of the stuff. And
And that's not the first week I've done it.
no,
So many weeks.
I know that, and I want to thank you for it. I appreciate you submitting it. It gave me us an opportunity to research it and get you the right answer. So I want to thank you for that. And let's see, Mr. Abedy has some stuff that he wants to bring to the council. He's up there.
Mr. Hemel from Finance.
Please state your name and address.
Brent Abedy, 402 Green Street, Thibodeau. Mr. Hemel from Finance left some records for you. He had another personal issue he had to take care of tonight, so I'm going to, on his behalf, distribute some updated reports that he wants to provide to the council, and it's actually, as of 8/28, the budget versus actual expenditures and incomes.
Oh, good.
He has to make this part of the
I'd love electronic copies. I'm not somebody that really cares to deal with paper. So if he can send us electronic copies, that would be fabulous. Not to complain, I mean, I'll look at it, but. No, she wants paper, not me.
Paper for the records.
Yeah, you need it for. Is that it, Mr. Abedy? You have something to read or something for us today?
No, that's all.
No? All right. N, council reports, presentations, updates, and/or questions. Number 58, Mr. Reggie Bagala, Legislative Internal Auditor, to present a monthly report quickly.
Yes, ma'am. I will be brief. Tonight, I will briefly touch on this year's posted internal budget amendments and next year's proposed operating budget. For those of you who are not familiar with the internal budget amendments or the process, basically, once the council approves, the budget administration has the ability to move money within each department internally without the council approval, but with the approval from the managers up to the parish president. So far this year, there have been 53 internal budget amendments. This administration has relentlessly blamed and attacked the council for scaling back increased spending in the general fund funded departments back 2 years to the 2016 budget, with the economy dipping, decreased revenues, and decreased ad valorem tax collections, et cetera, and putting the savings into the solid waste fund, which sorely needed the revenue. There were several charges by the administration that the parish government cannot operate because of these cutbacks, thus employee hours were cut. Because of this, said the administration. After reviewing all of this administration's internal budget amendments for 2018, only 8 of the 53 amendments were generated from the general fund funded departments. Only 8 of 53. 7 were from the same department. And of the 8 amendments, most involved salaries and benefits, which this council did not touch through their budget amendments to the budget process. Regarding next year's proposed budget, to my knowledge, and just the same as last year, no one from the legislative branch participated or was consulted in the formation of next year's proposed operating budget. Last week, I requested information for next year's operating budget regarding the projected salaries and information regarding the process used in the calculation of employee benefits. This request has been ignored by administration. There are some inconsistencies regarding estimated salaries, benefits within the 001 funded departments. As of yesterday, the proposed budget numbers available to me, which were posted at the administrator level in Munis, the executive department funded, general fund funded departments have almost $500,000 more in spending than the revised budget from this year. $500,000 more. But again, I'm gonna express that, please remember, these are not finalized figures, and I wanted to inform the council of this as we move closer to finalized numbers. Lastly, I would request that finance provide the council with the firm calculation of the parish president's salary. There is a notation in Munis that the salary has been calculated under the guise of Ordinance 5444, but the exact number is not known, at least not to me or my permissions. And I will keep the council advised of the proposed budget numbers as information becomes available to me. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Bagala? And your report will be made part of the record, right, Mr. Bagala? All right. Discussion 59, discussion concerning nuisance abatement. Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, I don't know, seems like the younger generation coming up is, when it comes to inheriting houses from the grandma, grandpa, mom and daddy, a lot of them don't take care of them. I've been getting more and more, houses with long grasses abandoned in my area, and I'm sure it's like that throughout the parish. Seems like it's growing. I just think it takes too long to really get something done, and I think maybe we need to get with Terrebonne Parish and see what kind of deal they have. And what I'm trying to do is we need to try to make it better than what we have. And at one time we had hired an attorney, but it took off, but it died. Previous administration, this one never did it. To see about maybe selling the police or whatever. I see we're doing some of that, but I just think we need to look at this, and I'm gonna dig into it myself, and I'll get with Jerome and that gang and see if we could come up with something better. I don't know if y'all have the problem, but I think it's going throughout the whole parish. So all I'm trying to do is make it better if we can.
Sorry, Mr. Otan.
Yeah, just the question was if we have, my phone, text messages, emails are blown up with pictures, and I mean, you just can't keep up. I can tell you a lot of people would like to have bigger government because they certainly want us to be cutting their neighbors' grass and dismantling their sheds pretty regularly. And I know the backlog by the administration is pretty sizable. So it's not, I don't even think it's, I don't put any blame on them by any means because it's overwhelming, the amount of nuisance forms that I complete that they have on file here. And then I also add, you have this long requirement, of public notices. They can partially correct it. It starts all over again. So it could easily take a year just to even get the grass cut by the homeowner. And one of the things I've tried to express to people is that parish government don't go into private property and cut it unless it's a nuisance to drainage. It's done by a contractor, and somebody has to pay that contract. And everybody says, well, government should pay for it. Well, from what funding source? So that's something I've been regularly having to tell people is that, we don't go out and cut on private property, and we don't have lawnmowers. It has to be contracted once you go through the public process, so it's a rough deal.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, just like to ask a question, how much money do we have in a nuisance abatement program?
Mr. Lasang.
In the budget process right now, we're evaluating, Mr. Barnes has been involved, we're evaluating getting a excavator, a tractor, a zero-turn, a dump truck to do this stuff on our own. When you see these $4 and $6 grand things that y'all pass every other meeting, it seems like, and then with the grass cutting that we have to do, we think it'd be way better in-house, and Mr. Barnes has been working on that through the budget process, and I think we'll try and do it this next year.
Well, actually, how much money do we have now?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're gonna buy all kind of equipment. We need to know how much money we got.
Mr. Barnes, I thought you and I had discussed some line item where you're taking this money from. Where was this money coming from? I guess it's not called a line item, but which fund was it coming?
It's be the actual nuisance abatement item. That is
Okay.
a dedicated fund that can use it only for nuisance abatement.
Right.
And
And how much is in that fund?
I don't know.
No idea?
Not right now, I don't know, ma'am.
Mr. Bagala, can you check that for us? Okay. Mr. Grow.
So we're gonna get in the grass cutting business and cutting people's, instead of billing them and getting an outside contracted company like Foray or whatever that we have contracted, we're gonna start cutting? That could be a problem.
No.
People just aren't gonna cut their grass anymore.
We're gonna hire a complete crew that's gonna do this. Not the people that's designated to drainage and roads. We're gonna hire a crew to do nuisance abatement, and it's gonna cut out a lot of time. And we'll be able to get to some of these items much quicker.
And you're still gonna bill them and be able to put a lien on their house like we can do now? You'll be able to do that when you're doing it internally? Okay.
We'll do it all legally. I mean, it's a long process. It ain't gonna be happening overnight, but it's a start.
Mr. Melvin?
Yes, I have some constituents, and I understand the parish has outfall canals that they cannot cut. I get that part of it. And sometimes somebody's not cutting their lot and they live somewhere else. We need to go after that money simply because if we're gonna pay to have it done, we need to get our money back. I've had times where the parish had cleaned out a ditch, and you can weed eat it, you can walk on it, it's not bad at all, but then the people still want us to go cut their ditch. And I understand if it's an outfall, but I'm not talking about outfalls. So I think we really need to focus on, again, getting out of the grass cutting business for folks who have grass that they can cut, because I'll never forget my wife one time, she told somebody, I cut my own ditch. I mean, we do. It's just a fact of life, and if you can cut it, I would suggest to cut it, because that costs a lot of money to government for us to do it.
Councilman LaFont?
I don't want to get this too deep in it, but I just think before we go and look into buying stuff to start tearing down residents, I believe that we getting in some legal issues. We can get in some legal issues that we don't want to handle tearing down people's houses. I think there's people that do that and they licensed and bonded to do that. I just hate to see us get into trouble to do that.
No.
Mr. Barnes?
We will get all the legal advice we need to move forward. Everything will be done legal. We'll be seeking legal advice on these items.
Mr. Otan?
Yeah, I'll just comment too, that there is a delay once it's awarded to the contractor. I've had to keep pushing and pushing for the contractor to get out there, so keep that in mind also. That year I'm talking about, sometimes it can be as much as, I don't know what it is, if it's 90 days or whatever it is, they have time to do it, but that grass in 90 days or whatever it is for them to get out there can be 10 foot tall, so keep that in mind also, in the consideration.
Mr. Barnes, you had something else? The only thing I would like to add is, did you all do a cost analysis on this? I mean, do you have some data to share with the council as to, what we're spending now, what we think this is going to cost?
Jerome and I are working on all the data. All the data of what the equipment.
So you're not sure y'all going to do it because you don't have all the data yet? Or you are sure you're going to do it?
No, I'm not saying that. We still got to get some legal opinions. And we already got some quotes on some equipment. I know about what the people's are going to cost. So we still debating it. And I discussed it with Mr. Jimmy the other day. So we're working on it. And when I get some more data, I will be glad to share it with the council. But I want to be on the legal side of it when I do it.
Yeah, I'll definitely need to see a cost analysis before I even consider something like that. Anyone else have anything else? Mr. Perilou. Mr. Perilou moves to adjourn. Mr. Otan seconds. All in favor? Any opposed? Council meeting adjourned at 8:40 p.m.